Chapter 3272. This small world looked like a tranquil herb field. However, those planted in the herb field were all cultivators. From afar, they were densely packed with the heads of cultivators. From the waist down, they were planted in the soil, looking extremely evil. There are probably tens of thousands of cultivators planted here. Judging from their auras, they should all be heavenly sovereigns. Tens of thousands of heavenly sovereigns planted in the herb field. What is the person who did this plotting? Knight Sorrow observed with the sea serpent's eye, and found that the people in front of him were all heavenly sovereigns. The scene in front of him was so strange that it made his scalp tingle. Even the knowledgeable Eternal Divine Tower and Desolation Warhalberd could not help but feel uncomfortable when they saw the scene in front of them. Xiaowu speculated, I think someone is using these heavenly sovereigns to nourish the herb field in front of us. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. I think someone is using this herb field to nourish these cultivators and cultivate them into monsters with terrifying combat strength. Desolation Warhalberd, who had transformed into a human, said slowly. Hearing their words, Yishan nodded and said, It's very likely that it's as you've analyzed. However, no matter what the reason is, we have to pass through this place. This is bad. We can't fly here. Does that mean we have to walk step by step through the herb field in front of us? Desolation Warhalberd tested it and found that the small world in front of them was the same as the one in the lava. They could not fly. We can't fly indeed. It seems that we have to walk slowly through the herb field. Knight Sorrow also tested it. After confirming that they could not fly, he summoned the restriction-breaking hammer and said, Look and see if there is a formation in front of us. The restriction-breaking hammer was summoned. After observing for a while, the hammer said, There is no formation. However, I feel that the scene in front of us is a little creepy. These cultivators who have been planted seem to be able to wake up at any time. Yeah, this place was a little too strange. If I had hair, it would definitely stand on end. Desolation Warhalberd agreed. At this moment, Xiaowu suddenly said, I have an idea that we can try. Oh, what is it? Tell me. Knight Sorrow turned to look at the arm-sized Eternal Divine Tower floating on his shoulder. Our Eternal Divine Tower can absorb all kinds of corpses and divine weapons and convert them into energy. Why don't we make a move and absorb them all? What do you think? Little Five said word by word. Although he had absorbed countless corpses and divine weapons, the current situation was too strange. He was not sure what the consequences would be. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow pondered for a moment and said, Anyway, there's a certain distance between them. How about this? Let's walk first and slowly pass through. If something happens, you can try again. How about it? Yes. This was good too. We also feel that it's a little inappropriate to absorb all of this. Little Five replied and did not say anything else. Then, Knight Sorrow asked, Do you want to enter my space grotto heaven or stay outside? There are no formation patterns here. It's useless for us to stay here. Let's go in. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, the male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said, and then they were absorbed into the space grotto heaven. As for the Eternal Divine Tower and the Desolate Warhalberd, they were worried that something would happen to Knight Sorrow and stayed outside. Therefore, with the Eternal Divine Tower on his shoulder and the Desolate Warhalberd in his hand, Knight Sorrow braced himself and walked towards the herb field where countless cultivators were planted. If this was not a place that he had to pass through, he would definitely not make such a choice. As for the cultivators who were planted, the distance between each of them was about 30 feet. The gap in the middle was enough for people to walk through. However, when he stepped into the herb field, Knight Sorrow had a very uncomfortable feeling. The soil under his feet was very moist. After stepping on it, even his ankles would sink into the soil. Looking at the surrounding cultivators who had sunk up to their waists, the Desolate Warhalberd said worriedly, Knight Sorrow, you have to be careful. Don't sink too deep. If you're planted here like these people, it'll be terrible. I don't want to step into the soil either. But I can't float here at all. I have to walk one step at a time. Knight Sorrow said helplessly. As the person involved, he naturally felt his scalp tingle. As he walked, he observed the surrounding cultivators who were planted. At this moment, the Eternal Divine Tower was already standing on Knight Sorrow's shoulder. After entering the herb field, they could not float either. Clearly they were suppressed by something. Not good. Why do I see a cultivator in front opening his eyes and smiling at me? Right then, the desolate war halberd suddenly roared. Where? Hearing that, Knight Sorrow asked in surprise. At this moment, he was in a high-intensity state of anxiety. The third one on the left in front. Look, he's still smiling, the desolate war halberd said. Knight Sorrow looked in the direction he pointed out. Wasn't that right? Indeed, a cultivator had opened his eyes and was smiling at them. That kind of smile made people's hair stand on end. When Knight Sorrow first saw it, he felt that it was a little creepy. But on second thought, he was immediately angered. He snorted coldly and said, "It's just a trick. We don't need to care about it." He felt that no matter where he was, he had to have an invincible heart. Although this place was very creepy and made one's scalp tingle, he had to calm his mind. All right. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the desolate war halberd immediately responded and looked in another direction. Knight Sorrow looked at the cultivator who was grinning sinisterly again and said, "You've already been planted here. What's there to laugh about? Go to sleep peacefully. Otherwise, you'll only be in an even worse state than now." After saying that, he continued to walk forward with a cold face. However, after taking a few steps, he realized that his feet, which had sunk into the soil, were grabbed by a pair of cold hands. Finally can't hold back anymore? Knight Sorrow, whose feet were grabbed, snorted coldly and activated the Treastrimsa battle mystic technique. Then, he forcefully lifted his left foot. A pale white hand was still grabbing onto his ankle. Let go. Desolate. Slash. Knight Sorrow saw that the pale hand was still grabbing him. He immediately waved the desolate war halberd and slashed down. The pale hand was instantly cut off. Then, Knight Sorrow did the same and cut off the other hand with the desolate war halberd. Amidst Desolate's worried words, they continued forward. After walking for a while, Knight Sorrow looked at the desolate war halberd and said, "You have a shocking killing intent on your body. Why are you so timid? This doesn't make sense at all." "It's not that I'm timid, but this place is too creepy," the desolate war halberd said helplessly. Then he said in horror, "Oh no! Oh no!" Chapter 3273. What's wrong? What's wrong? Knight Sorrow asked with a frown when he heard the desolate war halberd's words. "I didn't mean to disturb your morale. Look, all the cultivators around us have opened their eyes and are looking at us." The desolate war halberd knew that Knight Sorrow was a little unhappy with his shouting, so he immediately explained. Hearing this, Yishang looked around. Isn't that right? Tens of thousands of cultivators planted in the herb field had opened their eyes and were looking at him. Their gazes were more terrifying than the one before. Being stared at by so many strange cultivators with such strange gazes is truly unbearable. Seeing that many cultivators had opened their eyes, Knight Sorrow didn't blame the desolate war halberd. However, he couldn't fly at all and could only walk forward step by step. He suddenly felt a lot of pressure. Moreover, his footsteps became heavier and heavier as he walked. If it was just an ordinary lower heavenly sovereign walking in the herb field at this time, it would be difficult for him to walk. Damn, these demons and ghosts are laughing at the same time. At this time, the desolate war halberd, who had been paying attention to them, spoke again. Knight Sorrow heard this and said, "Don't look at them. Let's not be distracted and continue moving forward." "Okay, I'll block it and stop looking," the desolate war halberd replied and simply blocked his perception. He didn't smell or ask. "This way, I won't be affected by them," Knight Sorrow said and continued moving forward. At this time, Little 8, who didn't have much contact with him, asked, "I'm curious. Are you not affected by these strange things at all?" Haha, compared to Knight Sorrow's previous experiences, this is nothing at all. It's not to the extent that he's afraid of everything. Little 7 replied after Little 8 asked. He had been in contact with Knight Sorrow the longest and had heard all of Knight Sorrow's past experiences. He knew how determined his mind was. "Something is grabbing my ankle again." At this time, Knight Sorrow's expression suddenly froze. Then, he exerted force with his left foot and pulled it out of the soil. This time, there were 3 pale hands on his foot. As he raised his foot, the arms suddenly grew longer. Desolate halberd slash. Knight Sorrow once again used the Desolation War halberd to slash at these arms. However, he discovered that after these arms were cut off, they instantly grew back. What happened? Little Five asked when he saw the 3 hands on Night Sorrow's leg grow back after being cut off. I'm not sure either. These hands can regenerate, and it's not easy to deal with them. We can't stay here for too long, Night Sorrow said and stopped attacking the arms. Instead, he increased his speed and ran forward. As Yi Shang continued to run in the herb field, more and more arms grabbed onto his legs. It looked like a dense crowd. It's hard to look at. Being pulled by these hands, Night Sorrow had already started to run. He could only walk forward step by step. After running non-stop, they were only 2,000 feet away from the outside of the herb field. Night Sorrow, are you all right? What can we do? Seeing that Night Sorrow was having a harder time walking, Little Seven immediately asked with concern. It shouldn't be of much help to me. I think I know how this barrier is set up. As Night Sorrow struggled to walk forward, he said, I should be pulled out of this medicinal field by these cultivators. Otherwise, I'll be planted here forever. Yes, I think so. It's really difficult to deal with them. After Little Seven heard this, she said, We will help you. Then he took out an oval-shaped pill from the Eternal Divine Tower and said, This is the great strength pill that we brewed a few days ago. After consuming it, your strength will increase by 10 times for an hour. However, during this time, the strength of your soul will decrease by 10 times. Right now, what you need the most is strength. Hurry up and consume it. This pill was brewed by the Eternal Divine Tower after absorbing the energy of the horn. However, it wasn't of much help to Night Sorrow's battle, so he didn't mention it. Seeing that Night Sorrow was in such a difficult situation, he immediately took it out. Thank you. This thing is really useful now. After receiving the pill, Night Sorrow didn't hesitate and immediately consumed it. Then, he continued to walk forward. After about an hour, with the support of the pill, he successfully walked to a distance of 500 feet away from the medicinal field. However, when he reached here, the pill's effect completely dissipated. Night Sorrow, whose strength had decreased by a lot, immediately felt that he was being controlled. Under the pull of so many hands, he couldn't lift his legs at all. He immediately asked, Little Seven, do you have any more of that pill? No, because it's useless, we brewed one. Little Seven replied helplessly. It's okay. I'll think of a way myself. Night Sorrow felt that he couldn't lift his legs and his body kept sinking. At this moment, he was almost knee-deep. He didn't dare to be careless. He immediately used Armageddon and activated the Phoenix Bloodline and the Green Phoenix Armor, as well as the Dragon of Merit. With their help, Night Sorrow used the Desolation Warhalberd as a support and lifted his legs again. After walking for another 300 feet, when there were about 200 feet left, he was restrained again. At this moment, there were countless hands grabbing his legs. Under this situation, his body continued to sink until his knees were completely swallowed. Night Sorrow, let me help you. Under this situation, the Desolation Warhalberd suddenly turned into a human and stood at the side pulling Night Sorrow, wanting to pull him up. However, just as the Desolation Warhalberd turned into a human, his legs were also grabbed by many hands. He also sank. Desolation. Seeing what happened to the Desolation Warhalberd, Night Sorrow was completely anxious. Under this situation, he thought for a moment and immediately used the Supreme Dragon Subduing technique to summon the Kuan Peng. He wanted it to pull them out. However, the Kuan Peng had just appeared when it suddenly fell to the ground. It was absorbed by the medicinal field. It didn't even cause a splash. This place is really terrifying. We won't die here forever. The Desolation Warhalberd saw him and Night Sorrow gradually sinking and immediately said in a panic. However, halfway through, Night Sorrow interrupted him and said, We will successfully leave this place. After saying that, he roared, Eternal Divine Tower, suck all the demons and monsters in the vicinity into it. Originally, he didn't intend to use this move. However, he had already tried his best, but he still couldn't walk out. He didn't care anymore. Okay, let's try. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Five immediately responded. Chapter 3274. What are you trying to do? We will definitely suck them all in. Let them be so arrogant. Let me control the Eternal Divine Tower. Little Seven let out a loud roar and took control of the Eternal God Tower. It immediately began to absorb the cultivators buried in the herb field nearby. Soon, dozens of cultivators nearby were all sucked in. After sucking them in, Little Seven immediately asked, "Night Sorrow, how are you? Do you feel better?" "I feel better, but it's not enough. I can't move," Night Sorrow replied. Just like the desolate war halberd, his thighs were already buried, and he looked very dangerous. "Then I will continue to absorb." Seeing Night Sorrow's predicament, Little Seven sucked in the nearby cultivators again. However, after sucking in more than 100 cultivators, he realized that the Eternal Divine Tower could no longer absorb any more. He was puzzled. What's going on? This should be the power of the herb field. It's stopping you from sucking in all the cultivators. Night Sorrow, who was in the herb field, felt an incomparably violent power when the Eternal Divine Tower sucked in the cultivators. When this violent power appeared, it immediately restrained all the cultivators. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow and the desolate war halberd couldn't move at all. "Night Sorrow, don't worry. I will immediately refine all the cultivators into energy so that you can walk out," Little Seven said after seeing Night Sorrow's situation. Then, he used the Eternal Divine Tower to quickly condense energy for Night Sorrow. He was really afraid that Night Sorrow would completely sink and stay in the herb field forever. "Little Seven, thank you." At this moment, Night Sorrow was trying his best. Although he couldn't lift his legs, he was struggling to not let himself sink too fast. However, the desolate war halberd was sinking deeper and deeper, and it was about to reach his waist. Night Sorrow immediately said, "Desolate, quickly turn back into a spear and make it longer. Otherwise, you will be trapped here forever." "No, I don't think we should stay here." The Desolation War halberd thought of the ferocious cultivators in front of it. Then, it transformed back into a war halberd. However, it was different from what Night Sorrow had imagined. After the Desolation War halberd turned back into a war halberd, it could not be lengthened. Instead, it remained in its current state. "Night Sorrow, I seem to be bound by something. I can only switch between my human form and my halberd form. I can't do anything else. Moreover, I really can't move," the desolate war halberd said helplessly as he saw himself sinking deeper and deeper. He had been working hard all this time, but unfortunately, he simply couldn't do it in terms of strength. "Don't worry, I'll think of something," Night Sorrow said and began to think of a countermeasure. After pondering for a moment, he furrowed his brows and said, "Looks like I can only use the Jescale bloodline in my body. Jia-Lin shouldn't mind this matter, right?" At the same time, he sent a telepathic message to Jia-Lin. Naturally, he could not contact Jia-Lin. Then, he suddenly unleashed his Jescale bloodline. Once again, he lifted his leg with great difficulty. Slowly, he moved out of the herb field. However, just as Night Sorrow was about to walk out of the herb field, a cultivator in the last row. Suddenly, he drilled out of the soil. His entire body climbed on top of him and pulled him back fiercely. It was naturally nothing to be pulled by a cultivator. However, just as Night Sorrow was struggling to break free and immediately leave the herb field, some other cultivators grabbed this male cultivator's thigh and pulled fiercely. Being pulled by these cultivators, Night Sorrow once again fell into a difficult situation. "You guys are really endless." Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow was furious. He said, "Since you guys are endless, then let's have some fun." Then he simply stopped struggling. Instead, he took out his golden heavenly halberd and shot out his fiery demon-subduing spear at these cultivators. Moreover, he added the power of merit into the flames. With the help of the power of merit, the cultivator who was hit immediately retracted his hand. The power of merit seems to be very useful. Seeing that the cultivator who was hit immediately retracted his hand, Little Seven was pleasantly surprised. "I was careless just now. The power of merit is the most effective against these demons and monsters. Originally, I thought that the level of the power of merit was too low and wouldn't be of much use." Then, he used the power of merit to surround himself and the desolate war halberd. They continued to move forward in the herb field. Wrapped in the power of merit, Night Sorrow immediately felt that the pressure on his body had decreased by a lot. This feeling made him feel relaxed and he quickly walked out of the herb field. It's really not easy. The golden heavenly halberd, who was pulled out of the herb field by Night Sorrow, had just left the herb field and stood on solid ground and immediately said with emotion, "It's really all thanks to the power of merit. It's a pity that it hasn't been able to increase the power of merit for a long time." Night Sorrow thanked the power of conjugation. If it wasn't for the power of merit that played a good role, he might have stayed here today. That would be a tragedy. This is what it means to be a good person. Look, that vortex has appeared again. At this time, the desolate war halberd looked up and immediately saw that another vortex had appeared in the void above. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Little Seven immediately said when he heard this. He really didn't want to stay in this area for too long. At this time Night Sorrow said, "No hurry. I used too much energy just now. I need to recover. After I massage you, I swallowed an elixir and rested on the spot." When he was almost recovered, he took the Eternal Divine Tower and the desolate war halberd and flew into the vortex together. When they appeared again, at first glance, Yi Shang discovered that they had appeared in a spacious cave. Although this cave was pitch black, Night Sorrow had the sea serpent's eye. After opening it, he immediately saw that there was a half-step to the Supreme Realm wolf-headed man in the depths of the cave. "You can see me, Challenger?" After Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye, the wolf-headed man who had his back facing him suddenly turned around. "I can see you. Who are you?" Night Sorrow looked at the wolf-headed man and thought about how to defeat him if they were to fight. Seeing Night Sorrow's reaction, the wolf-headed man smiled and said, "I didn't stay here to fight with you." "Then why?" The desolate war halberd immediately asked. "I'm the guardian. But I'm not guarding here to fight. I'm testing if the challenger is qualified to receive the inheritance of our wolf clan." After saying this, the wolf-headed man looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Don't resist, I'll test your talent. I'm also your final test." "Don't resist and let you test me? Forget it. Night Sorrow, fight." Hearing the wolf-headed man say this, the desolate war halberd immediately exploded. Without Night Sorrow's control, it suddenly blasted towards the wolf-headed man. Chapter 3275. You've increased the difficulty of the test. Seeing the Baron war halberd attack the war halberd, the half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man roared angrily. Then, he slapped out with his claws and collided with the war halberd. The Baron war halberd was sent flying by the wolf-headed man and flew back into Night Sorrow's hand. He said, "Night Sorrow, as long as we defeat him, it'll be fine. Don't believe his nonsense. Don't worry, I'm not a child." Night Sorrow held the Baron war halberd in his hand and pointed at the half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man. "Come on. Let's fight. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for bullying you." The half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man howled into the sky and waved his claws, attacking Night Sorrow. His attack seemed simple, but it was actually extremely fast. Night Sorrow immediately activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and other statuses. He also summoned the Eternal Divine Tower. He let the Eternal Divine Tower directly attack the half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man. "Got it." Little Five, who responded, immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and attacked the half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man. At the same time, Night Sorrow's Baron war halberd also clashed with the wolf-headed man. The wolf-headed man was fast and his sharp claws were also very special. He was not at a disadvantage when clashing with the Baron war halberd. Clearly, the wolf-headed man had refined it to half-step Paramount Realm. He was vaguely suppressing Night Sorrow. However, when the Eternal Divine Tower attacked, the half-step Paramount Realm wolf-headed man chose to dodge when he sensed it. However, he did not succeed in dodging and was still struck in the chest by the attack. The wolf-headed man's chest looked as if his stomach had been cut open and he looked extremely miserable. However, his body recovered very quickly. Clearly, his recovery ability was extremely strong. At this moment, the wolf-headed man was completely enraged and roared, "You're courting death. You're a cultivator and 2 divine weapons. Today, you'll all be destroyed. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so." In the face of the wolf-headed man's threat, Night Sorrow scolded and used the 33 Tao characters formula. Then, he unleashed a divine essence trapping formation, cooperating to confine it. Finally, the evolved version of the godly spear suddenly bombarded the wolf-headed man's body. This time, the wolf-headed man's injuries were even more serious than before. However, it didn't take long for him to recover. This recovery ability is simply too abnormal. How are we going to win? Desolation War Halberd grumbled when he saw the wolf head recovering so quickly. Although he has recovered twice in a row, his aura has weakened a lot. As long as we continue to exhaust him, we should be able to defeat him. Knight Sorrow, who was observing the werewolf with the sea serpent's eye, discovered some problems. Although the werewolf's recovery ability was very strong, it needed to consume its own energy to recover. After recovering twice in a row, his aura had weakened by almost 20%. From the looks of it, as long as he recovered 2 or 3 more times, his combat strength would basically be no threat. After all, the current him wasn't much stronger than Xiaofan. If his strength continued to decrease, Knight Sorrow might be able to fight him without the help of the Eternal Divine Tower and Desolation War Halberd. Yes, that should be the case. Little Five also noticed that the wolf-headed man's condition was no longer as terrifying as when he first appeared. In that case, let's continue to attack. I still have some tricks up my sleeve. Desolation War Halberd became excited when he heard Knight Sorrow and Little Five's words. In fact, being trapped in these small worlds made him feel as if he was being restrained and very uncomfortable. He wished he could escape immediately. You're going to use the War Halberd's unique skill? Hearing this, Xiaofan immediately asked. Desolation War Halberd replied, "Yes. I'm going to teach you the War Halberd's unique skill. Keep it well." After saying that, he transmitted his voice to Knight Sorrow and taught him the key points of his unique skill. This was the War Halberd's unique skill. After Knight Sorrow heard it, he instantly understood it. He immediately used this move on the wolf-headed man in front of him. Desolation Endless Slash. After this move was used, it looked like a slash. But in fact, it was thousands of attacks in an instant. The attack speed was quite exaggerated. It was absolutely impossible for Xiaofan to accomplish this by himself. Wolf King Howl. Facing this Desolation Endless Slash, the wolf-headed man immediately used his unique skill. This move of his was also his trump card. After roaring, it immediately shook heaven and earth. Knight Sorrow's countless attacks with Desolation War Halberd were directly shattered. It was very overbearing. How is this possible? Seeing all of his ultimate arts being destroyed, Zhang Xian felt a chill run down his spine. Desolation War Halberd immediately said in disbelief. He never thought that the wolf-headed man could erupt with such a powerful attack. Boom! Just as he was thinking, he and Knight Sorrow were both blasted away by the wolf-headed man's move. What a powerful move! I didn't expect this wolf-headed man to be so powerful. Knight Sorrow, who slowly stood up from the ground, suddenly felt that his soul was damaged and he felt very uncomfortable. His head hurt. This is nothing. The powerful move is still behind. Wolf King Bloodline. At this moment, the wolf-headed man's aura was visibly growing stronger. When his strength had expanded to a certain extent, he once again attacked Knight Sorrow. Not good. Although this attack is not a soul attack, it is definitely stronger than the previous move. Desolation War Halberd felt the terror of the wolf-headed man's attack and was instantly shocked. The attack just now had damaged Xiaofang's soul. He was afraid that this move would cause him to die directly. Don't worry. Although his attack is strong, it is not to the extent that it cannot be broken. Feeling Desolation War Halberd's uneasiness, Knight Sorrow said this. He then sent a voice transmission to Little Five, attack again. At the same time, use 1/3 of the lava you collected on him. Hearing Knight Sorrow's voice transmission, Little Five did not hesitate at all and used the Eternal Divine Tower to attack again. This attack was about the same as the one he had just attacked. Regarding this, the wolf-headed man did not care too much and continued to attack Knight Sorrow. At this moment, the Eternal Divine Tower, which was very close to him, suddenly blasted out the hot lava it had collected. Oh well, what is this? Because he was too close to Knight Sorrow, the wolf-headed man could not dodge this attack at all. When the hot lava touched his body, he immediately screamed in pain. His ferocious attack was also interrupted because of this. At this moment, Knight Sorrow roared, "Desolation War Halberd, cooperate with me to kill him." Then, holding the Desolation War Halberd, He continuously bombarded the wolf-headed man who was being burned by the lava. After dozens of breaths, the arrogant wolf-headed man was completely killed. Very good. You have passed the test and can obtain my inheritance. At this moment, a rather deep voice sounded in the void. Chapter 3276. Who is it? Show yourself quickly. If there's an opportunity, come out directly. Don't hide. When Desolation War Halberd heard this voice, he did not sense where the other party was and immediately asked. Along the way, he and Knight Sorrow had experienced battles. They were very vigilant towards this so-called opportunity. Shut up. It's none of your business here. Don't get involved. At this moment, a huge Leaken Phantom appeared in the void. The Leaken Phantom berated Desolation War Halberd and looked at Knight Sorrow. What's your name? What faction are you from? My name is Knight Sorrow. I don't belong to any faction. I only fight for my family and friends. Of course, if the realm I'm in is threatened, I won't stand idly by. Knight Sorrow looked at the Leaken Phantom and was suddenly shocked. This was because this Leaken Phantom had surpassed the level of Half-Step Paramount Realm. Beyond Half-Step Paramount Realm, that was clearly a Paramount Realm expert. He thought for a moment and said according to his heart. He did not hide anything, but he did not say the name of the Eternal Supreme World. At this moment, Desolation War Halberd sent a voice transmission to Knight Sorrow. This existence in front of us should have been Paramount Realm when he was alive. It's understandable that he was deliberately mystifying. The inheritance of a Paramount Realm expert is not simple. We must obtain it. I said that it's none of your business here. I told you to be honest. Why didn't you listen? Desolation War Halberd's voice transmission was directly heard by the Leaken Phantom. He suddenly shot out a circle of light and sealed Desolation War Halberd inside. Reflect inside for 100,000 years. In these 100,000 years, you're absolutely safe. But no matter what happens in the world, you can't come out. Senior, my friend has good intentions. Please be magnanimous and remove the seal. Seeing the Leaken Phantom seal, Knight Sorrow confirmed that he could not remove it at all and immediately pleaded. He naturally did not want Desolation War Halberd to be imprisoned for 100,000 years. Although he had just obtained Desolation War Halberd, the two sides had fought side by side many times and had formed a certain tacit understanding. The Leaken Phantom said, "Ignore him for now. Let's continue the topic from before. You don't fight for any faction. This matter is very satisfactory. And then? Can I obtain your inheritance?" Knight Sorrow asked straightforwardly. Haha. I like your straightforward personality. The Leaken Phantom praised, and then said, "You've already passed all my tests, so you can naturally receive my inheritance. However, before I give you the inheritance, I want you to promise me one thing." "What do I need to promise you, Senior?" Knight Sorrow asked. "Here's the thing. I'm from another realm." All those years ago, he had entered the Foggy region and fought against 3-meter level experts. After that, he had fallen here. The corpse had been turned into a puppet by limitless supremacy. I want you to take back my corpse after you've succeeded in your cultivation and bury it in my hometown. The Leaken Phantom said slowly. After saying this, he said with some emotion, "I was the first to break through to the extreme realm in my domain. After he became invincible, he went around looking for experts from other realms to fight. Who would have thought that after entering the Foggy area and defeating Supreme Extermination, he would summon 2 more Supreme Exalts? I fought 1 against 3, but I was beaten to the point where I didn't have the slightest bit of temper. Yes, the 3 Supreme Exalts in the Foggy area are indeed terrifying. The most important thing is that they've always been together. The realm I'm in has been destroyed by them," Knight Sorrow said with some emotion. At this point, he no longer cared about the fact that the 3 Supreme Exalts came from the Eternal Supreme Realm. "So we're all enemies of the 3 Supreme Exalts. That makes things easier." After all, the Leaken Phantom was a Supreme Exalt when he was alive. Naturally, he could tell that Knight Sorrow was telling the truth. He pondered for a moment and said, "Then you should also know how terrifying the 3 Supreme Exalts are, right?" "Of course I know. However, I'll definitely face them in the future." "I can agree to what you said. However, whether or not I can complete it is not certain. After all, the The three of them are veteran supreme exalts. Night Sorrow said. This was not him being modest. Each of the three supreme exalts was very terrifying. It would be difficult for him and Yen to be a match for them. If he could help the supreme longevity find a suitable body, the three of them would be different. What you said makes sense. I'm afraid it's impossible for you to defeat the three supreme exalts with your own strength. How about this? In my hometown, there's a young man with good talent. He has received my inheritance and may already be a supreme exalt. When your strength is about the same, you can go to him and ask him to help you fight together. The Leaken Phantom said and continued. Of course, this is based on the fact that the three supreme exalts have not found my hometown. I know. Senior, you can tell me about your hometown. When I reach the supreme realm, I'll make a trip there. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Suddenly knowing that he might find another ally, he naturally felt good. Good. Since the matter is settled, then prepare to accept my inheritance. However, what I can pass on now is only bloodline talent and some experience. After the Leaken Phantom finished speaking, he stretched out a finger and tapped Night Sorrow's forehead. He continued, I'm the strongest person in the Leaken clan. Naturally, I'm also the possessor of the strongest bloodline and the king of lichens. You'll have the strongest recovery ability of our Leaken clan after receiving my bloodline. In future battles, as long as you don't get killed instantly like me, you'll be able to recover quickly. Thank you for your inheritance, Senior. May I know where it is? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. My hometown. When you have the strength of the Supreme Realm, you'll know for yourself. Next, I'll tell you everything I know. However, most of the techniques I have are suitable for the Leaken clan. They're not suitable for you. You might not be able to use them. As for formations and so on, you can make use of them. After the Leaken Phantom finished speaking, he began to impart some of his experience to Night Sorrow. After absorbing these doubts, Night Sorrow immediately said gratefully, Thank you, Leaken Phantom. I'll bury you in your hometown. Thank you very much. My remnant soul has been imprisoned here for countless years. Now, I can finally be free. After the Leaken Phantom said this, he completely disappeared between heaven and earth. Night Sorrow did not ask him to stay. He knew that the other party had left because his wish had been fulfilled. I didn't expect that there were other realms and other supreme exalts in the world. If at that time, the Leaken Phantom fought with the two supreme exalts and three supreme exalts of our eternal supreme realm, maybe the three supreme exalts would have been destroyed. Xiaowu and the others said regretfully after the Leaken Phantom disappeared. Chapter 3277. This is fate. However, if Leaken Extreme Venerate back then and met Yen Extreme Venerate or Senior Yen Hang, and start a battle, then our eternal supreme realm might not exist anymore. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment, he suddenly thought of an extremely serious problem. That was the desolate war halberd, which was still sealed by energy. He could not speak at all. Seeing the sealed desolate war halberd, Night Sorrow said apologetically, Brother Desolate, I'm sorry. When I have the strength of the Supreme Realm, I will immediately help you remove the seal in front of you. Just now, Leaken Extreme Venerate disappeared too quickly. I haven't had the time to tell you about your matter and the ancient coffin. However, the desolate war halberd did not have the ability to respond at all. Night Sorrow sighed and kept it in his space grotto heaven. Actually, it was not that he was unwilling to speak just now, but Leaken Extreme Venerate's aura was very strong and completely suppressed the rhythm, not giving him a chance to speak of other things. This was a basic ability of Extreme Venerate. Ordinary people could not understand it at all. At this moment Xiaowu suddenly said, Night Sorrow, look above the void, a vortex has appeared. This should be the teleportation door that we will use to leave, right? Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately raised his head and saw a vortex. He used the sea serpent's eye to observe his surroundings and said, There are no other mechanisms here, we should only be able to enter this vortex. Let's go. After saying that, Night Sorrow bowed 3 times in the direction where Leaken Extreme Venerate disappeared and flew towards the vortex. After entering the vortex, after a short period of dizziness, Night Sorrow finally landed successfully and appeared at the entrance of the small temple. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, the old wolf in a Taoist robe was immediately surprised. You actually came out so quickly? Then you have obtained the inheritance? Yes. I obtained some of Lekan Extreme Venerate's inheritance. Also, how long have I been in there? Hearing this, Night Sorrow used the power of Lekan on him. Seeing Night Sorrow use the power of Lekan Extreme Venerate's bloodline, the wolf-headed man in front of him immediately knelt and said, "Greetings, King. You have been in there for less than 10 breaths. Less than 10 breaths? He had been inside for so long, but it had not even been 10 breaths of time outside. The ability of a Supreme Venerable is indeed extraordinary." After praising him, Night Sorrow continued, "Please rise. You don't have to be like this. I'm not a werewolf. I've only obtained part of his bloodline inheritance." Night Sorrow knew that he had only obtained a portion of the Lekan Supremacy's bloodline. If he had obtained all of it, he would definitely be able to transform into a Lekan. He didn't have much of a sense of belonging to the Lekan clan. Now that he was being called king by the wolf-headed man in front of him, he felt a little awkward. Hearing this, the old wolf kneeling on the ground immediately said, "You have obtained the king's bloodline inheritance. You are the new king of the Lekan clan." "But I'm not a Lekan. He couldn't be the king." "Don't talk about this anymore." Night Sorrow flatly refused. Hearing this, the old wolf in front of him was a little dejected, but he continued, "The Wolf Marquis is willing to follow Master. Fight for Master." He didn't continue to mention the word king, but the meaning was similar. Hearing this, Night Sorrow asked, "Are you a Lekan?" Back then, the Lekan supremacy died in battle. "How did you survive?" "I was created by the king here. I didn't come from his hometown." The Wolf Marquis immediately explained. Hearing this, Night Sorrow said, "How about this? Then follow me from now on. Anyway, you don't have anywhere to go." "Yes, Master." The Wolf Marquis replied, stood up from the ground and asked, "Master, where do you plan to go next?" "We are now in an ancient site in the battlefield of the Slayer of Heaven. For now, we should first look for opportunities. Then we'll talk about other things." Night Sorrow said, "Let's leave the small temple in front of us first." "Yes, Master." After the Wolf Marquis finished speaking, he followed behind Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who was walking in front, opened the outer door of the small temple. Immediately, he saw Jie-Lin, Dancing Woman, and Su Lei waiting. At this moment, the lightning tribulation above Su Lei's head had become extremely terrifying. Seeing the three women, Night Sorrow said apologetically, "I'm sorry this time, the opportunity inside was obtained by me again. Next time, if there's another chance, I'll give it to the three of you." "Why are you saying this? If you let us in, we might have already died. What opportunity did you obtain?" Hearing this, Whirling Woman asked politely, "What's the matter?" "It's a part of the bloodline of a senior. This bloodline is used to recover injuries. With its existence, I can use Armageddon without limit in the future." Night Sorrow explained. The Lekan bloodline had a very strong recovery ability. Even if he used Armageddon, he could quickly recover. This was a great gain for Night Sorrow. Hearing this, Su Lei congratulated, "Then I really have to congratulate you. This is a very big improvement." "Yes. So, I'm still somewhat apologetic to you." Night Sorrow sighed and introduced the Wolf Marquis to the three women. After they finished greeting each other, Jie-Lin looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Are we still going to stay in the Temple of Creation?" "If you want to stay, I'll accompany you to look for opportunities. After all, the seal hasn't been touched yet, so Huang Jie and Ximing shouldn't be here yet." Night Sorrow looked at the three women and saw that they obviously wanted to continue searching, so he said. He guessed that what he had obtained was the greatest opportunity in the Temple of Creation. As for the legendary divine artifact, there was still hope to obtain it, so he didn't refuse. "Okay. Then let's hurry. After all, Su Lei can only last for one day." After Dancing Woman finished speaking, she led the way and searched nearby. After about half a day's time, the three women did indeed have some gains, but they didn't obtain any great opportunities. They also didn't find the legendary divine artifact. They did encounter a lot of resurrected corpses. However, these corpses were all afraid of Su Lei's lightning tribulation, so they didn't dare to get close. They really couldn't find the divine artifact, so they returned to the teleportation portal. Standing beside the teleportation portal, Jie-Lin said unwillingly, Say, there are so many corpses here. Even if Huang Jie and Si Ming come, will they still be in danger? Of course. Although everyone can fight one against many, there are too many heavenly supreme corpses here. A few people definitely won't be able to hold them off. No matter how strong Huang Jie and Si Ming are, they shouldn't be able to kill all the corpses here. Whirling Woman analyzed. Although these corpses didn't have much intelligence, their battle strength was still very strong. Very good. Then I can leave without worry. Hearing Dancing Woman's agreement, Jie Lin smiled and said, this time, the people under the two vice presidents didn't get anything, and they were even in danger of losing their lives. I'm very satisfied. Let's go. After coming out of the teleportation portal, Jie Lin looked at Night Sorrow and asked, what are your plans next? Chapter 3278. I'm going to visit a friend in Lu Tian Academy. Then, I'll accompany Su Lei back to her hometown. I'll let her go home and take a look. As for the rest of the plan, it should be to raise my strength as much as possible. To break through to the supreme state. Night Sorrow did not hide anything from him and said his plan directly. Since you want to break through to the supreme state, then you must join the middle school. Only by entering the middle school can you get the best resources. And a powerful legacy. What do you think? I'll recommend you to Vice Principal Ji Xian and let him recommend you to the middle school. Jie Lin looked at Night Sorrow and said, oh, do I have the qualifications to enter the middle school? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. Entering the middle school to raise his strength and find a suitable body for supreme longevity was what Night Sorrow wanted to do the most in Lu Tian Academy. At this moment, hearing Jie Lin's words, he was instantly interested. Of course you have the qualifications. However, if you're introduced to the middle school by Vice Principal Ji Xian, you'll be targeted by the other two parties. If you're not afraid, with your talent, you should be able to enter at any time. Jie Lin looked at Night Sorrow and said solemnly. She was introduced to the middle school by Vice Principal Ji Xian, and then she was targeted by the other two parties. It made it difficult for her to move, but she persevered. She did not hide this from Night Sorrow. Where there are people, there will be competition. Compared to entering the middle school, being targeted is nothing. Night Sorrow looked at Jie Lin and said, all right, since you said so. Then it's easy. Follow me to see Teacher Ji Xian. After Jie Lin and Night Sorrow finished speaking, he looked at Dancing Lady and Su Lei and said, the two of you, don't be disappointed. Although the two of you can't enter the middle school as students, you can enter as Night Devil's followers. Although you're his followers, I believe Night Devil won't treat you badly. The cultivation conditions and resources are 100 times better than outside. Don't worry. Our talents are limited and we won't bite off more than we can chew. If I can follow Brother Yi into the middle courtyard and quickly increase my strength, that would naturally be good. Whirling Woman looked at Jie Lin and said. She knew that although she was a genius, she was definitely not one of the top geniuses in the central courtyard. As for Su Lei, needless to say, he had already submitted to Night Sorrow. He did not care about this matter and did not say much. At this time, Night Sorrow looked at the two girls and said, don't worry, we're all friends. Whatever resources I can get in the middle court, I'll fight for them for you. Everyone, let's improve together. The middle courtyard was created by the three Supreme Paragons to nurture new Supreme Paragons. As long as you display the corresponding talent, even if you follow the Night Demon in, you will definitely be valued. Good luck. Jie Lin said a few more words to the two girls before continuing. I've already sent a voice transmission to Teacher Ji Xian. We can go over now. Good. Please lead the way. Night Sorrow gestured to Jie Lin to lead the way. The three of them followed behind Jie Lin. Jie Lin brought the three of them and flew for a distance. Suddenly, he sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Night Demon, if you can join the middle courtyard, you can use my Jie Lin bloodline at will and no longer be restricted. This will be beneficial for you to protect yourself. Thank you very much. Jie Lin bloodline was still very powerful. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately said gratefully. After thinking for a moment he said, if you have any trouble in the future, feel free to ask. If I can help, I definitely won't refuse. In the middle courtyard, there are many cultivators stronger than us. There are even many half-step Supreme Realm cultivators. Let's do our best to support each other and grow together. When you enter, you'll understand that it's very difficult to survive there. Jie Lin said with some emotion. Her talent was not bad, but after entering the middle courtyard, she had been dealt a blow. If not for Vice Principal Ji Xian's protection, she would have been killed long ago. Only with a strong opponent will there be strong motivation. I like this kind of challenge. Knight Sorrow understood Jie Lin's meaning, and the fighting spirit in his heart became infinitely stronger. For you, there will definitely be a lot of challenges because if you join, you will be the weakest person in the history of the middle courtyard. There will definitely be people looking for trouble with you. Jie Lin looked back at Knight Sorrow and shook his head helplessly. She knew that if Knight Sorrow entered the middle courtyard with his cultivation, it would be equivalent to a group of people mocking him. However, choosing to hibernate and not enter was a waste of time. Water flows to the low places, and people walk to the high places. A low starting point is not a bad thing. If you are targeted, then use your fists to open it. Knight Sorrow could imagine what kind of targeting he would encounter, but he was not afraid at all. Since the beginning of his cultivation, he had encountered all kinds of difficulties, but he had never backed down. We're here. Night Demon, follow me in. The two of you, wait outside. Not long after, the four of them flew to Vice Principal Ji Xian's location. Jie Lin looked at the two women apologetically and brought Knight Sorrow in to meet him. When he saw Vice Principal Ji Xian, Jie Lin bowed and said, "Teacher, this is the genius I told you about. I hope that you can recommend him to the middle courtyard." Night Demon, it's you. I remember you. You are the only first-grade genius among this batch of students. Vice Principal Ji Xian raised his eyebrows when he saw Knight Sorrow. Thank you for remembering, Vice Principal. I am Night Demon. Knight Sorrow cupped his fists and said. Vice Principal Ji Xian gave him a feeling that he could not see through him. He felt that his aura was several times stronger than the desolate war halberd. He was obviously a super expert half a step to the Supreme Realm. Haha. Not bad. Not bad at all. You have only entered the academy for a short time and have already become a Sky Supreme. Coupled with your outstanding talent, you can indeed enter the middle courtyard. At this point, Vice Dean Ji Xian's tone changed. But with your cultivation level, you might encounter a lot of opposition if you join. It might even affect your life. Are you sure you have made your decision? Reporting to Vice Principal, Night Demon has made his decision. I have chosen to enter the middle courtyard. Yi Shang had already thought about this question, so he answered without hesitation. After all, the purpose of his trip was to increase his strength and find a suitable body for supreme longevity. Joining the middle courtyard was a choice he had to make. Good. Since that is the case, I will recommend you to the middle courtyard. I will let you become the 33rd student in the middle courtyard. Ji Xian laughed and said, Since you are recommended by me to enter the middle courtyard, don't call me Vice Principal in the future. Just call me Teacher. This is also the Academy's rule. Thank you for your recommendation, Teacher. Please give me more guidance. Knight Sorrow bowed to Ji Xian and said, Don't worry. A genius like you can only be found by chance. Even the three deans will treat you as an unpolished jade after seeing you. Ji Xian looked at Knight Sorrow and nodded in satisfaction. Chapter 3279. Teacher. Can I see the three deans when I enter the middle court? Knight Sorrow was surprised when he heard Vice President Ji Xian's words. With his current strength, a half-step to Supreme Realm would definitely not be able to detect him if he disguised himself. However, any one of the three Supremes would immediately sense his identity from the Eternal Supreme World when they saw him. If he was discovered, it would undoubtedly be a disaster. There would definitely be no good outcome. Hearing Knight Sorrow's question, Vice President Ji Xian smiled and said, Well, if you want to see the clones of the three deans, you first have to advance to half-step to Supreme Realm. Otherwise, you don't have such qualifications. Because only by advancing to half-step to Supreme Realm will you have the chance to break through to Supreme Realm. As for the three deans' true bodies, no one can see them. I see. Then Night Demon will definitely work hard and strive to advance to half-step to Supreme Realm as soon as possible. Yi Shang said and then asked, That's right, Teacher. I heard that the fog area will soon harvest the Eternal Supreme World again. When the time comes, will I be able to see the true faces of the 3 deans? It's understandable that you students want to see the lineup of the 3 deans. However, even if the war starts, they might not appear. Because the eternal supreme world is no longer as powerful as it was in the past. It's doubtful that there are supreme realms. It shouldn't be enough to make all 3 deans take action. Vice President Ji Xian thought and said. Then, he looked at Night Sorrow and said, when the time comes, the candidates for the expedition will be our Lu Tian Academy. I will apply for a vanguard position for you. Thank you, teacher. Hearing that the expedition to the Eternal Supreme World would be led by Lu Tian Academy, Night Sorrow immediately wondered if he should use the power of the fog area to destroy all the heaven-deceiving alien races. After all, the Eternal Supreme World was now occupied by the heaven-deceiving alien races. The remaining realms had all surrendered to them. Even if they were wiped out, there was nothing to feel sorry about. All right. Come with me to see the other 2 vice presidents first. First, I'll apply for an identity in the middle court for you. As for the seat at New Excellence Peak, it will be reserved for you. However, people strive to climb higher, where the resources can't compare to the middle court. It's meaningless whether you go back or not. Vice President Ji Xian said as he prepared to bring Night Sorrow to meet the other 2 vice presidents. At this moment Night Sorrow asked, "All right, teacher. What kind of rewards would there be for the hidden mission? I've received a hidden quest, but there are still some unfinished quests." You actually received a hidden mission. The teacher's suggestion was to complete the hidden mission. As for what the reward is, I'm not sure, but it definitely won't disappoint you. It might even be a surprise. After Vice President Ji Xian finished speaking, he brought Night Sorrow to meet the other 2 vice presidents. After receiving their approval, he officially joined the Central Academy. After that, Vice Dean Ji Xian personally led Night Sorrow into the small world where the central courtyard was located. As soon as he entered, Night Sorrow felt an extremely strong aura of darkness. Not only was this aura strong enough to affect one's mind, the energy within it was also very powerful. He couldn't help but say, "This place is indeed extraordinary. The energy here is dozens of times stronger than the outside world. I've only just entered, so it's nothing much. When I've personally opened up a cave for you, you'll know why this place is called the Central Academy." Vice President Ji Xian laughed and led Night Sorrow to a towering platform. "Dean, what are we waiting for here?" After standing on the platform, Night Sorrow immediately asked in confusion. In this Central Academy, he was a complete newbie who didn't know anything. He could only ask about everything. Hearing this question, Vice President Ji Xian said, "Although the Central Academy is a small world, the layout inside is very big. Look at the starry sky in front of you. Every student would occupy a planet and use it as their own cave abode. We're here waiting for the starship personally built by Dan Ji Xian. In a while, we'll take the starship and choose a cave for you." So that's how it is. Night Sorrow stood on the platform and looked at the void with some bright spots in the darkness. He thought to himself, "I wonder if I can advance to the Supreme Realm here." Now that the Eternal Supreme Realm had fallen, and his family and friends had all disappeared, this made him very uncomfortable. He wanted to improve his strength as soon as possible and destroy all the enemies, so that everyone could have peace. When that time came, he could also return to the Divine Realm and meet Sikong Chuyu and the others. "What's wrong? Is something on your mind?" Vice President Ji Xian asked when he saw Night Sorrow in a daze. "Yes, I miss my family far away," Night Sorrow said without hiding anything. "Do you have a cultivation partner?" Ji Xian asked Night Sorrow. "Yes, I have a cultivation partner and a child." Night Sorrow nodded. "You have a child? This is a great blessing. The stronger you are, the harder it is to have one," Vice President Ji Xian said with some envy. He, the other 2 vice presidents, and the 3 Supremes all had no children. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "I also had a child when my cultivation level was low. It seems that you also relied on hard work step by step to get to where you are today. It's not easy." Vice President Ji Xian sighed and looked into the distance. "The starship is here. Let's go." However, if you take the starship, you will be attacked by the pirate skeletons. This is a danger that you must withstand with your own strength. Otherwise, you won't be able to take the starship back from the cave abode in the future. Okay. Night Demon knows. Night Sorrow responded and followed Vice President Ji Xian onto the starship. After the starship took off, Vice President Ji Xian used his origin force to control its direction. Night Sorrow stood on the spacious deck of the starship and looked into the dark void. After flying for about an hour, Vice President Ji Xian pointed into the distance and said, "The first batch of pirate skeletons is here. You must be careful." Following the direction Vice President Ji Xian pointed, Night Sorrow looked with the sea serpent's eye and saw more than 20 skeletons burning with red flames flying over from afar. These skeletons were basically upper heavenly sovereigns. Not only were they burning with red flames, but their empty eye sockets were also completely red, looking very evil. Good. It's a good opportunity to test the healing ability of the Leaken bloodline. Looking at the skeletons in front of him, Night Sorrow directly activated the destruction of heaven and earth while using the 33 Heavens Battle Mystic technique. Then, he took out the golden heavenly halberd and directly shot the divine spear at them. With the enhancement of the destruction of heaven and earth, Night Sorrow's move was very powerful and directly smashed a skeleton 1,000 feet away. At this time, Vice President Ji Xian asked curiously, "If I'm not wrong, you are using the destruction divine ability of extreme destruction?" Destruction divine ability? Chapter 3280. According to Night Sorrow's understanding, the move he used was called Armageddon. But now, Vice President Ji Xian said such a name, so he was naturally puzzled. Seeing Night Sorrow's puzzled expression, Vice President Ji Xian smiled and said, "It seems that what you learned is the version of Armageddon? That version is incomplete. It's not as powerful as the destruction superpower. Of course, the side effects are also lower than the destruction superpower. It's not surprising that you can use it." "Yes, teacher. What I learned is indeed called Armageddon," Night Sorrow replied while fighting the pirate skeletons. "Don't worry and fight first. We'll talk about this when we reach your cave abode." Seeing that the pirate skeletons were getting closer, Vice President Ji Xian reminded Night Sorrow without saying anything else. "Okay." Night Sorrow replied and then started fighting with the pirate skeletons that were attacking him. If an ordinary lower heavenly sovereign encountered so many upper heavenly sovereign pirate skeletons, they would definitely not dare to fight head-on. But Night Sorrow had just obtained the Leaken bloodline, so his recovery ability was simply heaven-defying. With the support of the 33 Heavens secret battle technique and Armageddon, there was nothing to fear. As long as he was not killed instantly, he would recover very quickly. And these pirate skeletons in front of him obviously did not have the ability to kill him instantly. Although they had severely injured Night Sorrow several times, he had recovered every time. Not only is his talent outstanding and can fight above his level, but his recovery ability is also heaven-defying. If he grows up, he will definitely be an extremely powerful seedling. Now, it depends on his temperament. Vice President Ji Xian praised Night Sorrow in his heart as he watched him fight the pirate skeletons bravely. Since the establishment of Killer Heaven Academy, he had been in contact with all kinds of geniuses, but this was the first time he had met someone like Night Sorrow, who had almost no weaknesses and was outstanding in all aspects. As he watched, Night Sorrow completely killed all the pirate skeletons after more than 10 hours of fierce fighting. Not bad. You're only a lower heavenly sovereign, but you killed so many pirate skeletons alone. This is already an excellent display of talent. Let this old man deal with the remaining 2 groups for you. Vice President Ji Xian praised Night Sorrow after he had finished off all the skeletons. In the next few days, he helped Night Sorrow kill the other 2 groups of pirate skeletons, and then traveled the vast void with him. Let Night Sorrow pick any unmarked planet. In the end, Night Sorrow randomly picked one that was pleasing to the eye and asked Vice Dean Ji Xian to help him set up the array formation. While Ji Xian was helping to set up the array formation, Night Sorrow began to build his own palace on the planet. However, the materials he had on him were limited, so he could only make a simple arrangement. At this time, he thought of Yun Yi, Shen Yan, and the others. He planned to bring them all to the planet to deal with the aftermath. When he first landed on this planet, he had already sensed that there were many ferocious beasts and resources here. This kind of arrangement was used to establish a force and allow many heavenly sovereigns to cultivate together. After everything was set up, Night Sorrow immediately expressed his gratitude. "Thank you for your help, teacher. A planet of this level can only be obtained in the middle of the academy. With this, I can establish my own force in peace. Haha, this is something that every genius in the middle of the academy can obtain. The 33 of you will replace the current major forces in the foggy area in the future and completely control the foggy area. Establishing a force in the middle of the academy is only the first step. Vice President Ji Xian looked at Night Sorrow and said slowly. Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately understood that the Lu Tian Academy had a grand plan. They were preparing to destroy all the major forces in the foggy area and completely control the foggy area under their control. He couldn't help but look at the other party and say, "Teacher, what you mean is, when the time is right, the foggy area will be completely reshuffled. Of course, there's no reason for us to contribute and let others do whatever they want in the foggy area." This matter was decided by the 3 Supreme Venerables after the last battle. Vice President Ji Xian said, then continued, "Let's not talk about this anymore. Just now, you used Armageddon. Then, I'll teach you the Armageddon. When others use the Armageddon, they will suffer an extremely strong backlash. You have such a powerful recovery ability. Even if you don't use it casually, it's more or less the same." "Thank you, teacher," Night Sorrow said politely. Armageddon was already very powerful. He naturally looked forward to the Armageddon even more. "You don't have to be so polite. Call me teacher. It's only right for me to teach you some things," Ji Xian said with a smile and began to teach Night Sorrow the Armageddon. Actually, he was doing this to win people's hearts. After all, although he was in a high position, he was not on good terms with the other 2 vice presidents. He had to build his own network. For a genius like Night Sorrow, he naturally spared no effort to take care of him so that he could obtain more returns. After about 2 hours, Night Sorrow completely comprehended the Armageddon. After trying to use it, he realized that using the Armageddon was at least 3 times more powerful than Armageddon. There were even more powerful Armageddon than the 33 Heavens battle secret technique. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that it took him so long to comprehend the 33 Heavens battle secret technique. It was already not bad. After all, it was something he obtained a long time ago. After using it once, Night Sorrow spoke again. Night Sorrow will remember teacher's kindness. "You don't have to be polite with me. If there's anything, come find me directly. You can even find Jialin. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first," Vice Principal Ji Xian said before he left. Night Sorrow went to his own planet and checked it out. Then, he took a starship and left the central courtyard. He found Jialin and the others and told them about his matter. After hearing Night Sorrow's story, Jialin immediately said, "Do you need my help to find your friend? I heard from them that you have a conflict with the Lin family. If you fight them head-on, you might not be able to contend against them. The Lin family is indeed a problem. If news of me killing Lin Dongqing spreads, they will probably do something to me. However, even a half step to the extreme realm won't be easy to kill me. There shouldn't be any danger on this trip." Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said with certainty. Although the Lin family was very strong, only a half step to the extreme realm was a threat to him. It wasn't too difficult to deal with. "That's good. Also, I'll pay attention to Huang Jia, Si Ming and the others. If they have news, I'll inform you immediately, just in case they find trouble with you." Jialin said one more sentence before he left and returned to the central courtyard. As for Night Sorrow, he brought Dancing Woman and Su Lei, who had successfully passed the tribulation, to find Yun Yi, Xian Yan and the others. Chapter 3281. As for the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and Bai Mei Sanren, he still did not summon them. When they arrived at Night Demon Peak, Yishang discovered that the current Night Demon Peak was much larger than before. It looked like it was already quite large. And the Lin clan did not come to cause trouble. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow did not let Su Lei and Swaying Woman show themselves. He let the 2 of them get used to being upper heavenly sovereigns in the space grotto heaven. After all, the 2 of them had just advanced and had not completely stabilized their realms. After seeing Yun Yi and Xian Yan, Night Sorrow immediately praised, "Brother Yun Yi, Brother Xian Yan, it's really not easy for you to develop Night Demon Peak to this extent in such a short time. You've worked hard. Haha. Isn't it all thanks to your banner that Night Demon Peak was able to develop smoothly?" Xian Yan said with a smile, then pointed at Pan Ye and Pan Yu and said, apart from your signboard, the two Pan brothers also played a very important role. We should reward them well. Is that so? Thank you very much, Brother Pan. Night Demon Peak will not mistreat the two of you. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Pan Ye and Pan Yu and thanked them. Hearing this, Pan Ye immediately said, since we've joined Night Demon Peak, we have to contribute to Night Demon Peak. Eating and waiting for death is not in the character of us brothers. As for the reward, it's best if you have it, but it doesn't matter if you don't. After all, being able to recruit so many brothers is simply a happy thing. That's right. We brothers like to make friends the most. The reward doesn't matter. Pan Yu also said with a smile. As for the reward, he did not seem to care at all. Hearing this, Night Sorrow laughed and said, haha, both of you are forthright, I like it. The reward is a must. I'll arrange it later. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Let's have a few drinks and reminisce. He planned to communicate with Yun Yi and Xian Yan later, and then decide on the candidates to go to the middle courtyard. The resources there were not ordinary. Those who went had to be loyal. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Ye immediately applauded. Good. Let's have a good drink for today. Good. Prepare the food and wine. Let's drink. At this moment, Yun Yi also spoke. Everyone found a good place to sit down in the dining hall. Night Sorrow, who was sitting in the center of the hall, immediately transmitted his voice to Yun Yi. Brother Yun Yi, to tell you the truth, I obtained an entire planet from the Slaughterer Academy this time. This planet could accommodate countless heavenly supremes. We can finally establish our own forces. So far, who do you think is trustworthy? What? Getting an entire planet is a huge surprise. Hearing this, Yun Ye's expression didn't change, but he was actually very surprised. After pondering for a moment, he replied via voice transmission. At present, all the brothers who have joined us have already made an oath to the Heavenly Tao. If they betray us, they will be punished by the Heavenly Tao. They should all be reliable people. If they are all reliable people, we can keep half of it and bring the other half to the Slaughterer Academy. As for those who stayed behind, they would continue to recruit new and reliable troops. Continuously bring them to Night Demon Star to raise their strength. To ensure that we continue to grow stronger. Night Sorrow listened to Yun Ye's voice transmission and said with satisfaction. Of course, that's not a problem. When the time comes, Xian Yan and I will stay here and be in charge of developing the team, while the other will stay on Night Demon Star and lead everyone to raise their strength. You can cultivate in peace and strive to advance to half-step to Supreme Realm as soon as possible. Yun Yi continued to transmit his voice. Originally, he thought that since they were establishing their forces, they could only do small things. But now, they suddenly had the resources of an entire planet. Immediately, he decided to make it big and strong. When our forces are strong enough, we will directly attack the Lin family. Let our forces occupy their territory directly. Suppressing these big forces is also the intention of the Slaughterer Academy's higher-ups. We don't have to worry about anything. Night Sorrow said to Yun Yi again. Then, he looked at everyone and raised his cup. Since we have all met here, it must be fate. Now, let me propose a toast to all of you. Also, I have something to announce. Brother Night Demon, may I make an announcement first? At this moment, Heavenly Supremacy Pan Ye suddenly stood up and looked at Night Sorrow. Brother Pan Ye, what do you have to say? Feel free to say it. Night Sorrow looked at Pan Ye in confusion. What I want to announce is this. From today onwards, Night Demon Peak will no longer exist in this world, and the Night Demon will no longer exist. At this moment, Pan Ye shouted coldly and let out a maniacal laugh. Then, he transformed into his original appearance and roared, "Kill the Night Demon for me." Yes, Chief. Hearing this, most of the cultivators present stood up and released their murderous aura. You have all made a heavenly oath. Are you going to betray us now? Yun Yi immediately scolded when he saw that everyone had stood up and betrayed him under Pan Yu's lead. Haha. We're all using fake names and fake faces. Under such circumstances, can the oath we made still count? You are all too naive. To be honest, we are all from the Lin family. At this moment, Lin Yu, who had changed his name to Pan Yu, also revealed his original appearance. He looked somewhat similar to Lin Dongqing. I didn't expect you to all be from the Lin family. Seeing Lin Ye and Lin Yu reveal their true appearances, Knight Sorrow let out a sigh and asked, "Then you should know that I've already killed Lin Dongqing, right? You killed him, and even 10,000 deaths can't absolve you of the blame. Today, we will definitely avenge him. Die, Night Demon." Lin Ye roared and slashed at Knight Sorrow with his saber. In the not-so-spacious hall, a shocking saber light slashed out. You have hidden yourselves well. Those who are still willing to serve Night Demon Peak, follow me and fight. Knight Sorrow shattered Lin Ye's saber light with a punch and roared. He knew that those who fought side by side with them in this situation were the truly reliable people who were worth nurturing. At this moment, there were almost 100 cultivators present, and almost 70% of them were from the Lin family. They stood up together and looked very imposing. Lin Ye roared, "Who dares to help the Night Demon? The Lin family will destroy their entire family." Under his threat, only 10 people stood on Night Sorrow, Yun Yi, and Shen Yan's side. Seeing that there were only 10 reliable people at this critical moment, Yun Yi immediately said apologetically, "Brother Yi, I'm sorry. I didn't know you well. I caused you to fall into such danger." "It's fine. Having 10 brothers on our side is already a great gain." Knight Sorrow looked at the 10 who stood over and said with a smile, "In the future, each of you will be stronger than the top geniuses of the Lin family." Chapter 3282. Shameless Boasting. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? You'd better live through today first. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Lin Ye immediately roared in disdain and ordered, "Don't leave a single one alive, kill. As for those who are neutral, if they don't help us, kill them all." "Yes, kill, kill, kill." After Lin Ye gave the order, many cultivators of the Lin family immediately roared. That earth-shattering aura was still very frightening. Some of those who did not join the Lin family and did not join Knight Sorrow's side thought for a while and basically joined the powerful Lin family's side. As for the 10 people who stood on Knight Sorrow's side, none of them went back on their words. Their eyes were very determined. Seeing this, Knight Sorrow said with satisfaction, "Everyone, you've done well. Follow me and kill. Later, I'll bring you a big surprise." After saying that, he used the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction super ability. With the golden heavenly halberd in hand, he rushed toward Lin Ye. At this time, Swaying Lady asked, "The difference in numbers between both sides is huge. Do you need our help?" She and Su Lei both wanted to go out and fight. "Not for now, I should be able to handle it." Knight Sorrow observed the situation and found that although there were many people on the other side, most of them were lower heavenly sovereigns. He could fight against 100 opponents with such strength alone. At the same time, he also wanted to use the battle to test the remaining cultivators and see if they were really loyal. "Help me block the Night Devil. He's from the Lu Tian Academy. His strength is not to be underestimated. Send 15 people to deal with him." Seeing Knight Sorrow rushing toward him, Lin Ye and Lin Yu organized people to surround and attack Knight Sorrow. But soon, they found that the advantage in numbers could not erase the difference between them. Although they sent more than 10 people to surround and attack Knight Sorrow, who had become a heavenly sovereign, was simply too powerful. The speed that he displayed made it impossible for them to see him clearly, let alone attack him. Dozens of breaths time. Knight Sorrow had killed 7 people in a row. The golden heavenly halberd is also covered in blood. It looks very murderous. As for the other accidents, the others were led by Yun Yi and Shen Yan to defend together. However, they were still at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. After being attacked for a while, their combined defense was broken. 3 cultivators were seriously injured. Just as they were about to be killed, Knight Sorrow suddenly sucked them into the space grotto heaven. To him, the fact that the 3 of them had fought to this extent was already a test of proof, so he did not allow them to participate in the battle. "Thank you for saving me, Boss Night Demon." Just as they were about to die, they were saved by Knight Sorrow. The 3 cultivators quickly thanked him. "We're all brothers, so there's no need for words of thanks. What I said just now is true. In the future, you will definitely surpass the important figures of the Lin clan. Take the pills and rest well." After he finished speaking, He gave the three of them a few restorative medicinal pills. Then, he started fighting with the Lin family again. After Night Sorrow's outburst, Lin Ye, Lin Yu, and the rest, who originally thought that victory was in their grasp, suddenly understood how big the difference in strength was between them and a true genius. In less than 15 minutes, about 20 of the dozens of cultivators were killed. Lin Ye and Lin Yu were seriously injured and basically had no ability to resist. The remaining people, seeing the grim situation before them, immediately had the thought of escaping in their hearts. Someone took the lead to shout the word, "Escape." These people instantly turned into birds and beasts that scattered in all directions, flying towards the periphery of Night Demon Peak. Want to escape? Have you asked the Mountain Gates Array formation? Everyone, including Lin Ye and Lin Yu, began to flee. Yun Yi roared and activated the array formation set up by Night Sorrow. After the 5 Bulls array was activated, it immediately let out a roar that shook one's soul. Under this momentum, Lin Ye, who was already seriously injured, would be directly shaken to death. The others also basically lost the ability to resist. At this moment, on Night Demon Peak, including the 3 people who were sucked into the Space Grotto Heaven by Night Sorrow, only 5 people were injured. None of them died. When the 5 Bulls array suppressed all the cultivators who wanted to escape, Shen Yan ordered, "Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all." Yes. The few cultivators who chose to stand on Night Demon Peak's side immediately charged into the array formation with an imposing aura. With the help of the 5 Bulls array, they successfully killed Lin Yu and the others. When all the Lin family members were dead, Night Sorrow looked at the crowd and said, "I want to congratulate all of you for making the right choice. Just now, I was about to announce something. Yes, I've already entered the central courtyard of Lu Tian Academy. I've obtained a large amount of resources and power. All of you can follow me to Lu Tian Academy to cultivate." What? We can enter Lu Tian Academy to cultivate? Is this true? Hearing this, a cultivator named Ko Lei asked in disbelief. Of course it's true. And I guarantee that your cultivation environment and resources will be better than most of the students who are chosen by Lu Tian Academy. The moment you join Night Demon Peak, your lives will be completely rewritten. Night Sorrow released his terrifying god territory and spoke at the same time. Hearing this, the cultivators in front of him were so excited that they almost cried. Lu Tian Academy was a place that everyone in the foggy area wanted to enter. However, they were mediocre and did not have the qualifications to be chosen. Now they could save their country and enter it to cultivate. It was impossible for them not to be excited. Everyone, don't be so excited. There will be many surprises in the future if you follow Brother Night Demon. Yun Yi said softly and then continued, "In the future, all the Lin family's territories will be taken over by us. And your loyalty will bring you endless resources and power." What? We'll attack the Lin family? But the Lin family is an old family with a very rich heritage. Can we do it? Hearing this, Ko Lei could not help but feel puzzled. He believed Yi Shang's words 100%. However, now that Yun Yi said that he was going to destroy the Lin family, he could not help but feel doubtful. At this moment, Night Sorrow said with certainty, "I guarantee that whatever Yun Yi says will come true. What you need to do now is to cultivate hard and increase your strength. Later, I'll send you to Lu Tian Academy. Come, everyone, let's continue drinking." As soon as he finished speaking, Night Sorrow summoned the Eternal Tower. He let them clean up the battlefield. Night Sorrow led everyone to drink to their heart's content. After drinking for a while, Night Sorrow looked at everyone and said, "The Lin family has attacked us several times. It's time for us to strike back." Chapter 3283. Lord Night Devil, we're preparing to make a move on the Lin clan? Aren't we a little too anxious? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ko Lei immediately said. In his view, the people in front of him were still not enough compared to the Lin family. If they directly collided with the Lin clan, they might not gain any advantage. The Lin clan has half-step extreme realm experts holding down the fort and countless heavenly sovereigns. We definitely can't contend with them head-on. But to deal with them, we don't necessarily have to clash head-on. There are many ways to take revenge. Regarding this problem, Shen Yan directly explained. He was clear that Night Sorrow's meaning was definitely to make a move on the Lin clan's various businesses. Hearing this, Night Sorrow nodded and said, "Yes. Brother Shen Yen is right. We don't need to fight head-on with the Lin clan. As long as we severely injure them in a certain aspect, it's fine." So that's how it is. Then there are still many ways to deal with them. Night Sorrow and Shen Yen expressed their attitudes one after another. Ko Lei immediately understood and said with a smile, "I still have some heard about the Lin clan. Although they are the local tyrants of a region, the area they occupy is too large. They definitely can't be strictly guarded in all aspects. In their territory, there's a very large blackthorn crystal mine. We can make a move on it." "You know so clearly?" After Ko Lei finished speaking, Yunyi immediately locked his gaze on him. Yunye's tone was somewhat cold. Ko Lei immediately explained, "I'm an itinerant cultivator. I've been drifting without a backer. It's very uncomfortable. A few years ago, the Lin family's mine was recruiting people. I went to sign up, but I wasn't selected. But because of this, I have a certain understanding of that mine." "So that's how it is. Where is that mine? How big is it? How many cultivators are guarding it? Tell me all about it." Night Sorrow could determine that what Ko Lei said was not false. He immediately opened his mouth and made him say everything he knew. As Ko Lei said the contents of that mine word by word, everyone's eyes immediately lit up. It turned out that 40% of the Lin clan's blackthorn crystals came from this mine. "Very good. Let's lock onto this mine as our first target. Everyone, get ready. We'll set off immediately." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he ordered the cultivators to prepare. He set up a few teleportation portals on Night Demon Peak. If Yun Yi and the rest were to be ambushed in the future, they could use the teleportation portals to teleport directly to Lu Tian Academy. That way, they would not have to fear the Lin clan's revenge. This was the authority he had obtained after entering the central courtyard. After Night Sorrow finished setting up the transmission array, he looked at everyone and said, "This time, let's all attack together. Take as many resources as you can from the Lin family's mine. Bring it back to Lu Tian Academy and use it for cultivation." Good. This Lin clan was used to being arrogant. There was really no one who dared to make a move against them. Now that we are snatching their resources, it can be considered as getting rid of evil for the people. Ha ha ha. Yu Sickle, who was a middle heavenly sovereign, laughed out loud. To these rogue cultivators, the Lin clan was undoubtedly an insufferably large clan. At this moment, they were about to make a move against someone they didn't dare to provoke, and the joy in their hearts was simply indescribable. "If we travel together, we'll be too big of a target and attract too much attention. All of you, enter my space paradise. When we reach the mine, I'll let you out," Night Sorrow said, and with everyone's cooperation, he kept everyone into the space paradise. Then, he got Ko Lei to lead the way to the Lin clan's black crystal mine. With the help of the city's transmission array, they arrived at the location of the mine about a month later. From afar, this black crystal mine was like a sect, with a protective array set up around it. Many mines were enveloped in it. It's really a mine that occupies a huge area. Using the sea serpent's eye to observe, Night Sorrow saw that there were countless mines in the array. Each mine towered into the clouds and occupied a huge area. In total, the black crystal mine was about 1,000,000 miles in radius. Yi Shang stood at the periphery of the mine and sighed in admiration. Then he let everyone out. Seeing that the mine in front of them was surrounded by the array, Ko Lei immediately asked, "Lord Night Demon, should we rush in directly or think of a way to break the array first and then secretly kill our way in?" "Wait a moment, I'll think of a way to break the array without anyone noticing. Then, we'll sneak in together." The location that Night Sorrow chose was very remote. After saying that, he summoned a pair of restriction-breaking hammers. He said, "Try not to alarm the people inside. Don't worry. It's not easy to be discovered when breaking such a large-scale array." The array in front of them occupied about 1,000,000 miles. The male hammer said confidently and broke the array with the female hammer. After about an hour, the male hammer flew to Night Sorrow's side and said, "It's done. Let's go in." Night Sorrow, who had been observing, immediately looked at the hole that the restriction-breaking hammers had opened up in the array and said, "If we want to break the array at all costs, how long will it take?" He asked this because he wanted to consider it thoroughly before taking action. Hearing this question before the restriction-breaking hammers could answer, Xiaowu said first, "At any time anywhere, we only need a strike from the Eternal Divine Tower to break the array in front of us." "Alright, let's go." First, we'll control a few cultivators and have them provide us with clues. After saying this, Yi Shang led everyone into the Black Crystal Quarry. After entering the Black Crystal Mine, Ko Lei said, "Lord Night Devil, I know where those stewards are gathered. After all, I came in a few years ago. Lead the way." Night Sorrow glanced at Ko Lei and said, "Alright." Ko Lei nodded and walked at the front, heading towards the tallest mountain peak. When they were 10,000 miles away from the mountain, he said, "Most of the people guarding the Black Crystal Mine are on this mountain. As long as we control them, we should be able to take over the Black Crystal Mine." "Alright, follow me up the mountain," Yi Shang said and took the lead to walk in front. At this time, Yun Yi reminded, "Brother Yi, we've already sneaked into such a hinterland, but the people of the Lin clan didn't notice at all. It's a little strange. Could there be some trap?" "Humph. I think the people of the Lin clan are used to living like princes. No one dares to attack them, so they've slacked off in defense," Shen Yan said with a sneer. "I think Brother Shen Yan's words make sense. They haven't been attacked for many years, so they've slacked off in defense." Yi Shang said, then reminded him, "I've already seen him. Everyone, prepare for battle." Chapter 3284. "Brother Yi, how many people are there?" Yun Yi asked as he took out a pen-shaped divine artifact. "It's a little strange. Most of the courtyards on the mountain are empty. There are less than 10 cultivators here. And most of them are injured." Night Sorrow said doubtfully as he opened the sea serpent's eye and observed the situation on the mountain. "Oh, only 10 or so, and all of them are injured? Could it be that someone beat us to the Black Crystal Mine?" Shen Yan, who was ready, said with a frown. "No need to guess. Just take action and control all of them." After Night Sorrow said that, he got everyone to split up and sneak toward the cultivators present. These people were already injured, and they did not expect a sneak attack at all. Soon, they were all under control. "Who are you? How dare you attack the mine of the Lin family? Are you tired of living?" Lin Su, the upper heavenly sovereign who had been captured by Yi Shang, shouted angrily when everyone was escorted together. "Since we attacked you, we should not be afraid of revenge. Where are the others? Why are you the only injured people here?" Shen Yan's voice was filled with killing intent as he kicked Lin Su's sternum. "Bah!" Lin Su, who was kicked, spat disdainfully and did not continue speaking. At this time, Night Sorrow summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Take him in and turn him into energy." Then, in front of the few injured people of the Lin family, he sucked Lin Su, who was the strongest among them, into the Eternal Divine Tower. After Lin Su died, Night Sorrow looked at everyone present and said, "Who can tell me what is going on today? Why are you the only injured people here?" However, after he asked, the people in front of him had no intention of answering at all. They all looked at Night Sorrow and the others with resentful eyes. Being stared at like this, Night Sorrow sneered and said, "It's okay if you don't say it. Execute them one by one." "You demon!" Hearing this, Lin Su and the others immediately looked at Night Sorrow with even more venomous eyes. Many people began to curse. "If you want to blame someone, you can only blame your Lin clan for constantly targeting us and bringing about the destruction of your clan. Since you don't want to talk, then die one by one." Shen Yan, who was holding a sharp sword, said coldly as he attacked and killed Lin Su. "Clan extermination? With just you guys? Haha. This was the biggest joke in the world. Only death awaits you." The other Lin family member who was being restrained immediately mocked him in disdain when he heard this. But soon after, he followed in Lin Su's footsteps. After killing 2 people, Shen Yan looked coldly at the crowd and said, "I'll give you one last chance. If they don't speak, I'll kill them all. Give us a quick death if you have the guts." In the face of Shen Yan's threat, one of the cultivators replied coldly. Shen Yan smiled when he heard this and said, "All right. Then I'll give you a quick death." With that, he shattered the cultivator's dantian and destroyed his spirit sea, destroying his spirit soul. At this moment, Night Sorrow said coldly, "Since they don't want to talk, then kill them all. He was decisive in killing, but he did not have the habit of torturing people. Seeing that he could not get anything out of these people, he gave the order. Then, Shen Yan, Ko Lei and the rest attacked one after another and killed all the Lin family cultivators in front of them. Search their bodies and see if you can find any clues. After all the Lin family cultivators were killed, Knight Sorrow immediately gave the order. At the same time, he flew to the top of the mountain and observed his surroundings. Soon, his sea serpent's eye discovered that there were cultivators on a mountain and there were a large number of them. However, because they were too far away, he could not see the exact situation. Therefore, he prepared to wait for everyone to finish searching before leading them to the mine. Lord Night Demon, I found some strange ores on Lin Su's body. While Night Sorrow was observing the mine in the distance, Ko Lei suddenly took out a piece of or the size of an egg and came closer. Night Sorrow took the ore and sized it up. The energy contained in this ore is more than 100 times greater than the black thorn crystal. It's not simple. Let us take a look. Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, Xiaowu immediately said with interest. All right. Night Sorrow replied and kept the ore in his hand into the Eternal Divine Tower. After confirming it confidently, Xiaowu sent a voice transmission in shock. Night Sorrow. If I'm not wrong, this ore should be called Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal. It's a material used to forge supreme divine weapons. What? This is Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal, a material used to forge supreme divine weapons? Upon hearing that, even though Night Sorrow was experienced and knowledgeable, he could not help but be shocked. A material that could forge supreme divine weapons was something that could only be chanced upon by luck for the few supreme venerables. He did not expect to find it here at all. In that case, the mine in the distance is most likely the place where the Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal was found. And it should be very dangerous to mine the Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal. The cultivators who were killed were most likely injured in the process of mining, so they came back to recuperate. After receiving Xiaowu's hint, he looked at Night Sorrow in the distance and roughly deduced what had happened. However, this was only a deduction, and he could not be completely sure. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow said, I think I understand what's going on. Everyone, enter my space hollow again. I'll bring you to a place. All right. Yun Yi and the rest immediately cooperated and entered the space hollow. After that, Yi Shang led the group and stealthily made their way towards the mine in the distance. After getting closer, he noticed that at the bottom of the mine, there was a hole that was 100 feet wide. At the hole, there were 4 middle heavenly sovereigns guarding it. This time, he directly summoned Yun Yi, Shen Yan, Su Lei, and Swaying Lady. He said, Don't alert the enemy. Let's attack together and kill all of them. All right. They're just a few ordinary middle heavenly sovereigns. They shouldn't be able to block our attack. Swaying Lady used her eye technique to take a look. After confirming that there were only 4 middle heavenly sovereigns nearby, she immediately relaxed. Now that she and Su Lei had stabilized their upper heavenly sovereigns, they had a natural advantage against middle heavenly sovereigns. In a while, Brother Yun Yi and I will be in charge of imprisoning these cultivators. The 3 of you are in charge of quickly killing them or restraining them. Brother Yun Yi, let's do it. Night Sorrow said and assigned one of the cultivators to Yun Yi. He activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and destruction divine ability to increase his strength. After that, he used the Treastrimsa Dao technique on one of the cultivators, and used the divine origin trapping array and merit trapping array on the other 2. In an instant, the 3 cultivators were trapped. Chapter 3285. Oh no, enemy attack! When the 4 guards discovered Night Sorrow and the others, they immediately prepared to call for help. But at this moment, Lady Whirling and the others' attacks were already in place. These 4 words in their minds had not been completely shouted out at all before they were directly killed. As they did not use voice transmission, they did not attract the attention of the people inside. After killing the 4 of them, Night Sorrow said, According to my observation, there are at least 40 to 50 cultivators below. Our best choice is to set up a formation at the entrance of the cave. Then we can sneak in and kill them one by one. Also, we have to find out if the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold Vein is here. All right. You set up the formation. I'll be on guard. Lady Whirling immediately activated her ocular technique and looked into the depths of the cave. Cultivators appeared. Night Sorrow set up the 5 bulls formation at the entrance of the cave. After advancing to Sky Supreme, not only was his speed in setting up formations much faster, but their power had also increased by a lot. The current 5 bulls formation could be used to deal with Upper Sky Supremes. After setting up the formation, Night Sorrow said, "The formation has been set up. As long as there are no half-step Supreme Realm cultivators inside, no one can escape. Let's go, follow me in." Got it. When the others heard this, their blood immediately boiled. After being targeted by the Lin family continuously, they were finally going to attack them on a large scale. Everyone, be careful. There's a formation in this cave. Just as they entered the cave and took a few steps, Night Sorrow saw that there was a formation in front of them, so he summoned the restriction-breaking hammer. He broke the formation without anyone noticing. Then he continued to search inside. Through the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow could see the approximate distribution of the people. These people were obviously digging for something. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow said, "We're about to encounter a team of about 10 people. This time, we definitely won't be able to hide our whereabouts. We have to end the battle quickly and finish them off. Then, we'll continue fighting with the reinforcements. All right. Let's try our best to kill them as soon as possible." Ko Lei and the others responded and followed behind Night Sorrow. Everyone be careful. If you are seriously injured, immediately enter my space paradise. Night Sorrow said one last sentence and led his men to attack some of the cultivators who were mining. These cultivators were crazily digging for things. When they first heard the sound, they didn't pay attention to it. However, when the sounds of battle rang out, all of them rushed over. At this time, under the leadership of Night Sorrow, they had already killed more than 10 cultivators. Furthermore, the Eternal Divine Tower had already confirmed that this was the vein of extreme flame phoenix gold. Who are you? How dare you behave atrociously in my Lin family's mine? Not long after, the top master in the mine, Lin Dongxiao, who was at the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level, arrived at the scene of the battle. He roared angrily. "Slaughtering Heaven Academy! Night Demon!" Night Sorrow reported his name and continued to lead his men to fight against the Lin family. Slaughtering Heaven Academy's Night Demon. Hearing this name, Lin Dongxiao thought for a moment and his pupils immediately contracted. "You're the one who killed cousin Dongqing. My Lin family wanted to kill you, but I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep today. Kill them all. Kill all the people who come here. Don't fantasize about those unrealistic things. Today, all of you will die, and the extreme flame phoenix gold will belong to me, Night Demon." Night Sorrow looked at Lin Dongxiao and said coldly. Then he shot the god spear at him. "What? You've discovered the secret of the extreme flame phoenix gold." Hearing this, Lin Dongxiao was shocked. Then he roared, "Then all the more you should die. Then we'll have to let you speak with your strength." The moment Night Sorrow spoke, the god spear was already in front of Lin Dongxiao. At this time, Lin Dongxiao took out a 9-section whip and attacked the golden heavenly halberd. However, there was clearly a mistake in his judgment. Night Sorrow's attack was slightly faster than his, so he couldn't block it and the spear pierced through his ribs. Bastard! The spear pierced through his ribs and sent him flying. Lin Dongxiao was so angry that he roared. He got up again and continued to fight with Night Sorrow. This time, he didn't dare to face Night Sorrow alone. He found 6 to 7 helpers to fight with the others. All of them used the King of the Woods on Night Sorrow. Seeing that they used such a move, Night Sorrow didn't return the favor. Instead, he used the loophole of the King of the Woods to quickly defeat them and easily suppress them. Soon, he killed 4 people and forced Lin Dongxiao into a desperate situation. Everything went smoothly. Seeing Yi Shang kill them so easily, Yun Yi sent a voice transmission to Xian Yan and praised, "How long has it been? Brother Yi has already grown to such an extent. His achievements are limitless." That's right. He's definitely a genius among geniuses. In the future, he might become a supreme being. We're really lucky to have a friend like him, Xian Yan said. At this time, Lin Dongxiao was completely defeated by Night Sorrow. He suddenly sent a voice transmission. "If you don't kill me, I'll tell you a secret." This secret is definitely valuable. I can spare your life, but you have to submit to me forever and attack the Lin family. Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Dongxiao and said, I can submit to you, but I won't attack anyone from the Lin family. When Lin Dongxiao heard Knight Sorrow's words, his expression changed and he sent a voice transmission. No matter how much he wanted to live, he couldn't turn around and attack the Lin family. After Lin Dongxiao said that, Knight Sorrow continued, You don't have to do it yourself, but you need to provide all kinds of information. Lin Dongxiao was Lin Dongqing's cousin, and he was in charge of such an important mine. He was definitely not an ordinary person. He felt that a spy of this level would be very useful. After all, he was going to destroy the Lin family and build his own territory. You want me to be a spy? Lin Dongxiao immediately understood what Knight Sorrow meant. That's what I mean. You can choose to do it or die. Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission again. At the same time, the golden heavenly halberd in his hand attacked Lin Dongxiao again. Lin Dongxiao, who was severely injured, had no ability to block the attack. In a hurry he shouted, Submit! I choose to submit. What? Lin Dongxiao did not send a voice transmission because he was in a hurry. The Lin family members who heard him looked at him in surprise. I don't want to die. Lin Dongxiao looked at them and said with a sigh. Then, he stood aside and did not participate in the battle. Yi Shang, Whirling Woman, and the others quickly killed everyone else present. They did not even use the 5 bulls formation outside. At this time, Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Dongxiao and said, Tell me the secret you know. I'll see if it's valuable. He had already recorded what had just happened with the image stone. He did not ask Lin Dongxiao to make a heavenly oath. Chapter 3286. After all, once this video was made public, Lin Dongxiao would definitely be punished by the Lin family. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Lin Dongxiao thought for a moment and said, Actually, the mine in front of us is not the one that produces the most extreme flame phoenix gold. It's just that the mine that produces the most extreme flame phoenix gold is haunted. That's why we sealed that mine and started mining here. Haunted? You and I are both cultivators. Why are you saying such childish things? When Yun Yi heard Lin Dongxiao's words, he immediately retorted. Hearing this, Lin Dongxiao explained helplessly, The thing inside is so fast that we can't see it clearly. From time to time, it will attack cultivators. Here more than 10 of us have been attacked, and more than 10 of us are injured. In everyone's eyes, it's a ghostly existence. That's why we use the word haunted to describe it. It seems like that thing is not something that you can fight against. Shen Yan said. Then he asked, You want to use something that you can't fight against to kill us? Is that it? Ayo. No, it's really not. I just want to say something valuable to save my life. Lin Dongxiao said innocently. When the mine in front of us is finished mining, we'll go to the mine that you mentioned. When the time comes, you lead the way and we'll go in together. At this time, Knight Sorrow was talking about the coffin. Then he looked at everyone present and said, Everyone, use your own abilities to finish mining this mine. Okay. Hearing this, everyone immediately started to search for the extreme flame phoenix gold in the mine. It was difficult for even an Supreme Honorable to find it. Now that they had the chance to find some, they naturally had to give it their all. After everyone started to work, Knight Sorrow summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and Restriction Breaking Hammer and said, You guys go and search too. Okay. We're very good at this kind of thing. Xiao Wu replied and immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to search for the extreme flame phoenix gold in the mine. Knight Sorrow started to ask Lin Dongxiao about everything about the Lin family. He wouldn't have known if he hadn't asked. Now that he did, Yi Shang realized that the Lin clan actually had more than 8,000 heavenly sovereigns. Moreover, other than the Patriarch, who was a half-step into the Limitless Realm, there were still other half-step Limitless Realm experts hidden in the shadows. Their foundation was very rich. Looks like it won't be easy to confront the Lin clan. After hearing Lin Dongxiao's words, Knight Sorrow began to think about how to replace the Lin clan. He felt that if he could find Supreme Longevity and the others, for now, it would be best to settle them down in the foggy area so that everyone could recuperate and improve their strength. It was impossible for these people to appear in the Slaughterer Academy. Not to mention the middle of the courtyard. If the three terrifying existences woke up one day, they would definitely be exposed. But if they were hidden in the Lin clan's territory, then the possibility of them being exposed would be infinitely smaller. As for the heaven-deceiving alien tribes that had occupied the Eternal Supreme World, Night Sorrow planned to eliminate them with the help of the Heaven-Deceiving Academy. Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. I found something good. Just as Night Sorrow was deep in thought, Little 8 suddenly sent him a voice transmission. What did you find? Yi Shang immediately replied with a voice transmission. I found a thigh-long piece of extreme flame phoenix metal. Such a big piece is enough to upgrade your divine weapon to half-step to supreme state. And increase its potential by a lot. It might be able to advance to half-step to supreme state in the future. Little 8 replied excitedly. What? That's great. After the Desolation War Halberd was sealed by Supremacy Leaken, Night Sorrow indeed lacked a half-step to supreme state divine weapon. After keeping Lin Dong Xiao in his grotto heaven, he flew to where Little 8 was. When he arrived, he realized that the Eternal Divine Tower had already dug out the item. At that moment, the extreme flame phoenix metal was being controlled by the Eternal Divine Tower to float in the void. It shone with a gentle and reserved light, but it gave off a strong feeling of power, as if a drop of it could shatter a small world. It looked very mysterious. It's really good stuff. Supreme state material, it lives up to its name. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe it, and immediately confirmed that it was extraordinary. He could not help but praise it. Little 8 smiled and said, This thing is very slippery. Hurry up and keep it. Or use it directly. Don't let it run away. Does it have life characteristics? I'm going to use it to strengthen the golden heavenly halberd. Night Sorrow said doubtfully. He immediately used his divine origin force to wrap the extreme flame phoenix metal in front of him and threw it into the golden heavenly halberd. Then, he began to refine it seriously. Not long after, the golden heavenly halberd had completely advanced to half-step to supreme state. It looked brilliant and was obviously much stronger than before. Moreover, it was much stronger than the Desolation War halberd. As for Night Sorrow, when he held the completed golden heavenly halberd in his hand, he immediately felt an unyielding will. That was the aura of a supreme state material. It felt very comfortable. Strong. It's much stronger. What is this? Night Sorrow, who held the golden heavenly halberd in his hand, originally wanted to help it pass the tribulation. At that moment, a spear technique suddenly appeared in his mind. Extreme Flame Phantasm. After using the golden heavenly halberd and mastering the Extreme Flame Phantasm, Night Sorrow realized that this move not only looked very beautiful. When used, dozens of phantoms would appear in the void. Moreover, its power was about 5 times stronger than the divine spear. This was considered a huge improvement. What a powerful move! Night Sorrow exclaimed when he kept his spear. At that moment Little 5, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, transmitted her voice again. Night Sorrow, we have checked. Although there are many extreme flame phoenix metal fragments here, we can't find any as big as the one just now. We can go to the mine that Lin Dongxiao mentioned. Alright, wait a moment. I'll help the golden heavenly halberd pass the tribulation successfully. Then, we'll bring people over. I've promised Lady and Su Lei that if there's any opportunity, I'll let them search for it first. I can't go back on my words. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he began to help the golden heavenly halberd pass the tribulation. To him, this level of tribulation lightning was somewhat difficult. However, in the end, he managed to pass it without any mishap. When he had more or less recovered, he immediately transmitted his voice to Lady and Su Lei. The resources here are limited. I'll bring you to another mine. Alright, let's go. Hearing Night Sorrow's transmission, Lady immediately replied. At that moment, she and Su Lei had found a few pieces of extreme flame phoenix metal. However, these were not enough to refine divine artifacts. She felt somewhat unsatisfied. After that, Su Lei also replied. They followed Night Sorrow and left the mine in front of them, heading towards the legendary haunted mine. Night Sorrow did not bring Yun Yi and Shen Yan along because the thing in the mine should be very difficult to deal with. Chapter 3287. What a strong smell of blood. When they got close to the mine, before the seal was lifted, Su Lei sensed a strong smell of blood. With her reminder, Night Sorrow and Dancing Woman, who were using their eye techniques to observe the mine, noticed this. Night Sorrow immediately asked, Lin Dong Xiao, does this smell of blood come from the cultivators who were killed among you? Not all of them. Lin Dong Xiao thought for a moment and explained, some of them are from our people. As for the other parts, they existed when this place was discovered. This area is very evil to begin with. I see. Release the seal you set up. Night Sorrow released Lin Dong Xiao and said, okay. But I can't guarantee what the consequences will be. Lin Dong Xiao turned to look at Night Sorrow. After getting an affirmative answer, he went to release the seal. Actually, if that thing is really as powerful as you say, the seal in front of us can't seal it at all. Yi Shang said, then asked, since we found such a precious mineral deposit here, why are we still here? Did you report it to the family? No. Hearing this question, Lin Dong Xiao replied, I'm the first person here. I have absolute control over the Black Crystal Mine. After discovering such a low-grade mineral deposit, the first thing I thought of was to take it for myself. So I didn't report it. But I didn't expect that you would attack this place at this time. If you didn't report it, then we have enough time to find it. Lead the way, let's go. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Dong Xiao and said, letting him lead the way. He brought Su Lei and the swaying woman and walked at the back. As everyone entered the mine that Lin Dong Xiao ordered people to dig, they immediately smelled an even stronger smell of blood. Smelling this smell of blood, Night Sorrow immediately frowned and said, this smell of blood is a little strange. It is very strange. It doesn't seem like the blood of cultivators. Su Lei continued, this blood is more like, not good. It's coming. Just as Su Lei was about to continue speaking, Lin Dong Xiao suddenly cried out. Alert! Night Sorrow heard this and immediately reminded everyone. At the same time, he used the sea serpent eye to observe his surroundings. He didn't find anything, so he asked curiously, Lin Dong Xiao, how did you know that thing was coming? I saw a shadow just now. That shadow flashed by. But it definitely did appear. Lin Dong Xiao explained, proving that he was not bluffing. After Lin Dong Xiao finished speaking, Night Sorrow and Dancing Woman used their eye techniques to observe the surroundings. But they didn't gain anything. Night Sorrow knew that Lin Dong Xiao was not lying. He frowned and said, that thing is in the dark while we are in the light. However, since it was pretending to be mysterious, it proved that its strength was not to be feared. Let's ignore it and go straight for the mines. After saying that, he took out the Eternal Divine Tower and let Little Five and the others sense the aura of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal. He had just been summoned. Little Seven said telepathically, Night Sorrow. The aura of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold here was dozens of times thicker than in the mine just now. There might be a complete vein of Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold below this mine. A vein of Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold? Are you sure? Hearing this, even Night Sorrow could not remain calm. If there was really an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold below, then it could definitely create an Extreme Divine Artifact. I can't say that I'm 100% sure, but at least 70%. Little Seven said telepathically and continued, usually, this kind of vein will produce a Holy Spirit. The ghost spirit that Lin Dong Xiao mentioned should be the Holy Spirit of the vein. Okay. Let's dig downwards. After Little Seven finished speaking, Night Sorrow immediately said to the people around him, directly downwards? Su Lei asked doubtfully. Yes. Right here. Keep digging downwards. There should be a shocking discovery. Night Sorrow did not hide the fact that there was an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold below. After saying that, he took out his golden heavenly halberd and started digging downwards. Dancing Woman and Su Lei did not ask anything and also started digging downwards. Lin Dong Xiao, who was at the side, naturally did not need to be instructed and started working with everyone. After working for a while, Night Sorrow suddenly saw a black shadow flash past. Although he did not see it clearly, he guessed that it was the Holy Spirit of the vein below. According to Little Seven's analysis, the Holy Spirit of the vein below should be half a step to the extreme realm. He thought for a moment and immediately set up the 5 bulls formation around him. After the formation was set up, Night Sorrow looked at everyone and said, Everyone, you can dig in peace. If that thing wants to attack us, it won't be that easy. I realize that the deeper we dig, the stronger the aura of the extreme flame phoenix gold. But my eye technique can't see through it. Dancing Woman said in surprise as she was digging. She knew that the stronger the aura, the closer they were to the opportunity. Everyone, be careful. The Holy Spirit produced by the extreme flame phoenix gold will definitely not be willing to let us take it away. A bitter battle is likely to be unavoidable. After digging down for about 10,000 feet, the aura of the extreme flame phoenix gold was already very strong. At the same time, a strong smell of blood also spread out. At this moment, Little Seven reminded Night Sorrow that the distance was about right. He also reminded everyone to prepare for battle. Right at this moment, a resentful voice suddenly said, "How dare you affect my cultivation? You're courting death." Night Sorrow, its body is growing flesh and blood from the extreme flame phoenix gold. It's preparing to transform into a cultivator. The surrounding smell of blood should be from it. Little Seven said and reminded, "Now that it has planted an aura imprint on us, it must have a death grudge." "I see." Hearing Little Seven's words, Dancing Woman muttered and shouted, "Your cultivation is probably accumulated with the blood of cultivators, right? It's obviously not a good thing. We have a clear conscience when we attack you. Those cultivators are just some medicinal catalysts. They allow me to produce blood and a body so that I can die a worthy death." The Holy Spirit of the extreme flame phoenix gold said coldly. From a certain distance, everyone present could feel its murderous and evil aura. It gave people the feeling that they were being stared at by some wild beast. Since you think so, then it's natural for you to be forged into a divine artifact by us. This is called natural selection. The survival of the fittest. After the Holy Spirit of the extreme flame phoenix gold finished speaking, Dancing Woman said coldly again. Hearing this, the Holy Spirit of the extreme flame phoenix gold suddenly let out a sharp laugh. Then it said disdainfully, "Although I haven't completely formed, I'm still a half step to the supreme realm. The few of you will only become my new nourishment. Then let's try and see who will live forever and who will die." Night Sorrow, who had been silent all this time, activated the Treastrimsa Heaven's combat mystic technique and the destruction divine ability. Chapter 3288. After raising his status, Night Sorrow immediately took out the golden heavenly halberd that was half a step to the supreme state. He attacked the extreme flame phoenix gold's Holy Spirit with the Qingxian godly spear technique. With the help of the 9 steps of the heaven defying, he managed to hold his opponent back for a while. After reaching a stalemate with the extreme flame phoenix gold's Holy Spirit, Night Sorrow immediately said, "You guys wait for an opportunity to attack. And remember to protect yourselves. I can feel that it hasn't unleashed its true strength yet." Descent of all evils. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, Dancing Lady used her Descent of all evils on the extreme flame phoenix gold's Holy Spirit. As for Su Lei and Lin Dong Xiao, they were both looking for an opportunity to attack. Although the situation had become chaotic, Lin Dong Xiao had no intention of running away. He could feel that Night Sorrow had already locked onto him with his aura. "Die, all of you!" Just as Dancing Lady's Descent of all evils was about to hit the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit, it suddenly let out an extremely ferocious roar. It directly used its roar to shatter Dancing Lady's attack. Then, streaks of blood suddenly flowed out of its stone-like body. The stench of these bloodstains was very strong. After they appeared, the aura of the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit was completely different. It was several times stronger than before. After its aura stabilized, it used an even more exaggerated speed to attack the weakest person present, Lin Dong Xiao. So fast. Seeing the speed of the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit, Dancing Lady couldn't help but reveal a terrified expression. She judged that if the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit chose her as its target, she definitely wouldn't be able to dodge. "Save me." Facing the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit, Lin Dong Xiao and Dancing Lady had the same judgment. Seeing the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's Holy Spirit attack, he had no ability to dodge at all. He felt that his movements were 100 times slower. Divine Vitality Trap Array. 100 Words Mantra. Kim Song's stone spear was about to pierce through Lin Dongxiao's body. Night Sorrow immediately used the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the 100 Words Mantra. This time, he struck out 38 characters in a row. When combined together, they were very powerful. Although the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit was already half a step into the Supreme Realm, its speed was still significantly reduced. What are you still standing there for? Dutch. At this time, Su Lei saw that the speed of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit had been greatly reduced while Lin Dongxiao was still standing there in a daze. She knew that Lin Dongxiao would become an important chess piece for Night Sorrow in the future. Naturally, they didn't want him to be killed so easily. Good. Thanks for the reminder. Lin Dongxiao immediately used his body movement technique to dodge the attack of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song. You can actually reduce my speed. After Lin Dongxiao dodged its attack, the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit did not continue to pursue Lin Dongxiao. Instead, it turned around and looked at Night Sorrow. It said coldly, "So I should still kill you first. You're just a holy spirit. Do you really think you're half a step into the Supreme Realm?" Night Sorrow looked at the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit without any fear. He could feel that the strength of this holy spirit was not as strong as half a step into the Supreme Realm. However, its speed was shockingly fast. He had a way to deal with it. Just a holy spirit? What a good one. Since you're so arrogant, let's see if you can take a hit from a holy spirit. The Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit, which was already very irritable, was immediately enraged when it heard Night Sorrow's words. It directly transformed its body into a spear and shot towards Night Sorrow. The speed of this spear was clearly faster than any attack that Night Sorrow thought he would face. Even the Divine Essence Trapping formation that he used again was unable to block it. The right side of his ribs was directly pierced by this spear. Are you okay? The speed of this attack is a little too fast. Su Lei did not see the attack of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit at all. When he reacted, he realized that the right side of Night Sorrow's chest had been pierced. And the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit had directly pierced through his chest. My dantian is not broken, so it's not a big deal. Feeling the injury in his chest and the broken green phoenix armor, Night Sorrow felt that he was still okay. Although this injury looked very serious, he still had the strength to fight. If it was his dantian that was pierced just now, then everything would be over. Haha, your dantian is not broken? Next attack, I'll break your dantian. Night Sorrow had just replied to Su Lei when the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit coldly roared. Then, as it said, it attacked Night Sorrow again. The target of the attack was his dantian. Be careful. Dancing Lady used her eye technique and could barely see the trajectory of the attack of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit. She immediately shouted to remind Night Sorrow. And the speed of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit clearly surpassed her shouting. Before the shout reached Night Sorrow's ears, the attack of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit had already arrived. Boom! The attack of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit directly bombarded the golden heavenly halberd. It turned out that after Night Sorrow finished speaking, he had already blocked the golden heavenly halberd in front of his dantian to prevent his dantian from being destroyed by the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit. And his judgment had just blocked the other party's attack. You actually know how to predict, but what's the use of that? You can block once, but can you block 100 times? I said, all of you have to die. After saying that, the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit was ready to attack again. At this time, Night Sorrow prepared for a moment and roared, Extreme Flame Phantasm. In an instant, dozens of beautiful spear shadows appeared in the void. After these spear shadows were shot out, they rapidly blasted towards the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit. What? How can it be so fast? Before the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit launched another attack on Night Sorrow, it realized that the speed of the Extreme Flame Phantasm that Night Sorrow had shot out was so fast. It was instantly stunned. It hurriedly dodged. But the area covered by the Extreme Flame Phantasm was very large. Although the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit evaded as fast as it could, it was still hit by one of the spear shadows. You've been hit by my attack. I've completely locked onto you. Be prepared to die. One of the spear shadows hit the body of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song's spirit. Night Sorrow instantly locked onto its aura. He shot out the extreme flame phantasm again. At the same time, he roared out a dragon's roar and a phoenix's cry. When the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit was about to dodge, he used the divine essence trap formation to lock it in place. Although the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit quickly broke out of the divine essence trap formation, it was still hit by Night Sorrow's attack. It was quite badly injured. For a moment, the situation immediately became passive. At this time, Night Sorrow shouted, "Every time it's locked onto by the trap formation, its speed will become very slow. You guys seize this opportunity to attack it." After that, he cast the trap formation again. However, this time, it was not the divine essence trap formation, but the merit trap formation. Chapter 3289. The disguised virtuous trapping array looked similar to the divine essence trapping array. After using it, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit thought that this move was still the divine essence trapping array. It immediately launched an attack, preparing to break out of the array in an instant. But this time, just as it launched its attack, it suffered a backlash from the power of virtue. At this moment, although Night Sorrow's power of virtue was of a very low grade compared to a half-step to the supreme realm, its attribute was still able to restrain all kinds of evil spirits. Although the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit in front of him was a holy spirit and not a demon, it had absorbed the blood of many cultivators and had already entered the demonic path. It was an evil spirit. Being attacked by the dragon of virtue, the first thing it did was to retreat. Because the attribute of the power of virtue made it very uncomfortable. It was this delay that allowed Night Sorrow's next extreme flame illusion to arrive. This time, dozens of spear shadows bombarded the body of the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit at the same time. At the same time, Dancing Woman's descent of all evil descended from the sky. After being hit, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit instantly turned into an appearance of misfortune. Su Lei's attack was slightly weaker than Night Sorrow's and Dancing Woman's. This was because she had transformed into Wuxia's flames, and this extreme flame phoenix gold was born in flames, so it was basically immune to burning. As for Lin Dongxiao's attack, it was even more ordinary and did not have any effect at all. "You all deserve to die. All of you deserve to die." After being bombarded continuously, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit immediately became furious. With a roar, it instantly turned into a liquid state. It looked like a pool of blood, but there was some metallic light in the blood. After the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit transformed into this state, Night Sorrow struck again. But when the attack arrived, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit immediately disappeared into the void. When the attack ended, it merged again. This kind of ability is really abnormal. Seeing that Night Sorrow's attack had no effect on the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit, Dancing Woman immediately praised. At this time, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Five. "If the opportunity is right, can the Eternal Divine Tower keep the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit?" "In its current state, we definitely can't," Little Five replied and continued. "But if it suffers another attack, its state is weakened a little, maybe we can succeed. You try to trap it in the virtuous trapping formation again. I'll think of a way to deal the strongest blow. I'll try my best. Now that it's in this state." Yi Shang said to the extreme flame phoenix gold saint spirit floating in the void. "Spirit, spirit, spirit. It's it. It's two's was." After a short period of adaptation, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit had completely gotten used to the body in front of it. It immediately transformed into its human form and stared at Night Sorrow. "You're the one who jumped the most. You'll be the first to die." After gritting its teeth, it immediately flashed toward where Night Sorrow was. It was so fast that even Dancing Woman couldn't see it clearly. At this time, Night Sorrow made up his mind and ignited his Phoenix bloodline and Jielin bloodline. When the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit rushed over, he blocked the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit's attack on his Dantian. Then, he immediately cast the divine essence trap array and the virtuous trap array at the closest distance. Although the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit was fast, there was a limit to it. The two layers of trap arrays immediately trapped it and Night Sorrow within. He discovered that he and the injured Night Sorrow had been sealed in a space. The extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit didn't break out of the trap array immediately. Instead, it attacked Night Sorrow, wanting to kill Night Sorrow instantly. It felt that apart from Night Sorrow, no one else present could deal a fatal blow to it. Therefore, it judged that as long as it killed Night Sorrow, this battle would be over. Dang! Just as the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit attacked Night Sorrow, the Eternal Divine Tower suddenly attacked. They had been preparing this attack for a long time. The extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit's attention was all on Night Sorrow, so it had no chance to dodge. Boom! Night Sorrow was sent flying by the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit's attack. The extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit was also completely hit by the Eternal Divine Tower's attack. The heavily injured Night Sorrow could no longer organize an attack. He endured the pain and said, "Everyone, cooperate with the Eternal Divine Tower and suck the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit into it. The extreme flame phoenix gold below can be mined freely by us. Everyone, help me." At this moment, Little Five roared and started to absorb the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit. It was sucked into the Eternal Divine Tower by a huge pulling force. The heavily injured extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit immediately struggled with all its might. Under such circumstances, Whirling Woman and Su Lei kept attacking it. Lin Dongxiao also kept attacking from the side. If the three of them attacked the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit in its peak condition, it would definitely be useless. But at this moment, the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit had taken a direct hit from the Eternal Divine Tower and was severely injured. After being attacked continuously, it soon couldn't take it anymore. It didn't struggle for long before it was sucked into the Eternal Divine Tower. "Night Sorrow, are you okay?" After sucking in the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit, Little Five immediately sent a telepathic message to Night Sorrow to ask about his injuries. Although Night Sorrow tried his best to resist just now, he was still hit by the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit at close range and was severely injured. His body was already pierced through. "My condition isn't too good. I'm afraid I need to recover for a while." Night Sorrow replied to Little Five, then looked at Lin Dongxiao and said, "Enter my space grotto heaven temporarily." "Yes." Hearing this, Lin Dongxiao looked enviously at Su Lei and Whirling Woman, then helplessly entered Night Sorrow's space grotto heaven. After that, Night Sorrow looked at Su Lei and Whirling Woman and said, "The extreme flame phoenix gold below is a material for refining supreme class divine weapons. Try your best to collect it. I'll heal my injuries up there first." "That's not very good. The extreme flame phoenix Kim Song's spirit was defeated by you." Hearing this, Su Lei immediately said hesitantly. Whirling Woman also said, "We'll wait for you to recover and go down together to collect it. I said last time that if there are more resources, you guys will have priority. No need to decline. Hurry up and go." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he swallowed a few elixirs and entered the Eternal Divine Tower to heal his injuries. Su Lei and Whirling Woman looked at each other and began to dig down at the same time, each looking for resources. When Night Sorrow recovered, it was already half a month later. After he recovered, he sent a telepathic message to Su Lei and said, "How is it? How's the harvest?" "I found some larger pieces of extreme flame phoenix gold. It shouldn't be enough to refine a divine weapon, but it's still a good harvest. Whirling Woman gained more than me. Come down and look for it." Su Lei, who understood that Night Sorrow had recovered, immediately urged him. Chapter 3290. To Su Lei, Night Sorrow was obviously closer to him than to Dancing Lady. These days, Dancing Lady had obtained a large number of Supreme Flame Phoenix gold fragments, which made her very anxious. She was afraid that all the Supreme Flame Phoenix gold in the mine would be collected. At that time, Night Sorrow would have nothing. "All right. My body has just recovered, so it's time for me to move," Night Sorrow replied. He looked at the hole in the green phoenix armor and thought to himself, "I hope that I can get enough materials this time to repair you and raise you to half a step to the Supreme Realm. This way, I won't let Jingyun down." He had worn the green phoenix armor for many years and already had feelings for it. Moreover, it was given to him by Jingyun, so it was very precious in his heart. "Little Seven, help me check where the aura of the Supreme Flame Phoenix Gold is stronger." After diving underground, Night Sorrow searched for a long time but did not find much. The Supreme Flame Phoenix gold fragments in the nearby area had basically been taken by Su Lei and Dancing Lady. His sea serpent's eye was basically helpless against this, so he could only ask for help from the Eternal Divine Tower. After all, they were very sensitive to materials like the Supreme Flame Phoenix gold. Alright. Let's search carefully. There doesn't seem to be any aura of the Supreme Flame Phoenix gold nearby. After the Eternal Divine Tower was summoned, Little Seven sensed it for a while and then replied. Even he could no longer sense the aura of the Supreme Flame Phoenix gold nearby. Let's search further down. Su Lei and Dancing Lady have already searched in the distance. Let's go straight down. Night Sorrow observed the surrounding situation and said. At this moment, Su Lei and Dancing Lady were close to 10,000 miles away from him. This proved that the nearby area had indeed been searched. Alright. Let's try going down. Maybe we can get a big harvest. After Little Seven finished speaking, he controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and dug downwards. Night Sorrow directly entered the Eternal Divine Tower. However, they kept going down and dug for about 50,000 miles. They could already feel the heat of the earth core fire, but they still couldn't find the aura of the Extreme Flame Phoenix gold. At this moment, Little Seven said gloomily, logically speaking, if a Holy Spirit can be formed, it means that there is an entire Extreme Flame Phoenix gold mine nearby. But I can't find any in front of me. Could it be that the Holy Spirit has used up all the ores? I think it's possible that the Holy Spirit consumed a large amount of Extreme Flame Phoenix gold. However, it was absolutely impossible to use up an entire vein. This was because an entire Extreme Flame Phoenix gold could be refined into an extreme-grade divine artifact. If it consumed all of it, then the sacred spirit strength could very well have reached the extreme realm. It's definitely not the kind of strength he used to fight us. Night Sorrow voiced his opinion. It could be said that they had dug 3 feet into the ground, but they still could not find the remaining Extreme Flame Phoenix gold vein. This was somewhat strange. According to your deduction, this should be the case. If we want to find out where the other parts are, we can only interrogate the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit. Little Seven said and then said, Night Sorrow, wait for a moment. We will interrogate the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit and make it spit out. Alright. You guys go ahead. Night Sorrow opened up a wide area underground and temporarily sat down to meditate and recuperate. He no longer searched, because he really couldn't find anything. After that, Little Five, Little Seven, and the others began to interrogate the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit in the Eternal Divine Tower. In the beginning, the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit was very stubborn. But later, under Little Eight's instructions, they began to absorb the essence of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit. After they began to absorb, Little Seven said, You should be able to feel that your essence is disappearing bit by bit. If you don't find the remaining Extreme Flame Phoenix gold vein, your energy will be sucked dry bit by bit and you will eventually die. Even if I die, I won't let you trash get away with it. It's impossible to get any clues from me. You'd better give up. Moreover, even if I die now, I will be reborn in the Extreme Flame Phoenix gold vein in the future. We have plenty of time in the future. The Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit said coldly. It had no intention of giving in at all. After that, the Eternal Divine Tower exhausted all its means, but it still didn't speak. Under such circumstances, Little Seven said telepathically, Night Sorrow, we can't open its mouth. But we can know from it that the Extreme Flame Phoenix gold vein is still there. Let me try. Hearing this, Night Sorrow sent a telepathic message and entered the Eternal Divine Tower. When he saw the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit, it was already suppressed to the point that it didn't have any temper. But it still didn't speak. Looking at it, Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He directly released the Dragon of Virtue and enveloped the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit. While it couldn't resist, it purified it bit by bit. Not long after, the evil aura in the eyes of the Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit completely disappeared. What replaced it was a trace of confusion. At this moment, Night Sorrow said, Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit, bring me to find the Extreme Flame Phoenix gold vein. Yes. The Extreme Flame Phoenix Kim Song spirit responded. Without any hesitation, it brought Night Sorrow and the Eternal Divine Tower and flew in a direction underground. In the end, they found the extreme flame phoenix gold vein in the earth core fire. This extreme flame phoenix gold vein was 10,000 feet long. It could be used to refine supreme-grade materials and forge supreme-grade divine weapons. However, Knight Sorrow didn't have this ability at the moment. Therefore, with the help of the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit, he kept it in the eternal divine tower. He was afraid that his space cave couldn't withstand the attack of the extreme flame phoenix gold. This was because this extreme flame phoenix gold was much more ferocious than the fragments that he had obtained. Just the flames covering his body alone could burn an ordinary upper heavenly sovereign to death. We will keep this extreme flame phoenix gold for you first. When you reach half-step to supreme grade or supreme grade, you can consider using it to forge a divine weapon. You won't need it for now. After keeping the extreme flame phoenix gold vein, Little Seven sent a voice transmission. I will use some to repair the green phoenix battle armor first. Extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit, help me get some. Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission to the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit, asking it to help him get a piece of it that was about 10 feet long. After refining it, he directly repaired the green phoenix battle armor underground. Not long after, the green phoenix battle armor was completely repaired, and he had advanced a half-step to supreme grade. After repairing the green phoenix battle armor, Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Little Seven. Let the extreme flame phoenix Kim Song spirit stay in the eternal divine tower for now. I can feel that we still need it to forge supreme grade divine weapons and other things. Alright. We will take good care of it. Don't worry and go do other things. Little Seven replied, and Knight Sorrow hung the eternal divine tower on his belt. After that, Knight Sorrow found Su Lei and Dancing Lady and told them about the situation. Then, he brought the two ladies to find the others and left the Black Crystal Mine. He let Lin Dongxiao go. First, he wanted him to inform the Lin family about what had happened here. Second, he wanted him to be a spy. After returning to the Lu Tian Academy, he brought the people to the Night Demon Star in the middle of the academy. Su Lei found Knight Sorrow and said, "Last time, you said that you wanted to go to my hometown to find your family and friends. There shouldn't be anything to take care of in the academy now. Should we leave now?" Chapter 3291. Ever since joining that organization, Su Lei had left her hometown and came to the foggy area. Now that she had left, she still hadn't returned. She was very worried about her clansmen. Second watch, she wanted to go back and take a look from the bottom of her heart. Hearing Su Lei's words, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said, "Since you miss your hometown, I should also look for my family and friends. Let me make some arrangements and we'll leave." After saying that, he found Yun Yi and Xian Yan and made some arrangements with them. When he saw Yuan Tian Lai, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast, and Bai Mei Sanren, he told them his itinerary. Then, he picked up Supreme Ancestor Phoenix and the First Deputy City Lord and went to her hometown with Su Lei. As for Yuan Tianlia's hometown, he was prepared to go there when he was stronger. On the road to find his family, Knight Sorrow was still very nervous. He was worried that he still wouldn't be able to find them. "Since you're so nervous, why don't we go to the Eternal Supreme World first and then you can accompany me back to my hometown?" Along the way, Su Lei saw Knight Sorrow's nervousness and said. She could feel the frustration in Knight Sorrow's heart. "Okay. Accompany me to search the Eternal Supreme World again. If there's nothing, we'll go to your hometown." After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, he and Su Lei searched the Eternal Supreme World together. However, according to the instructions of Supreme Ancestor Phoenix and the First Deputy City Lord, they searched several times but found nothing. He was sure that Supreme Longevity and his family were either hidden in a space that was difficult to find or had gone to a new realm together. At this time, the Eternal Supreme World was still ruled by the heaven-deceiving alien race. Knight Sorrow couldn't stand this, but the most important thing for him was to find his family and friends. Therefore, he didn't attack these alien races. Under Su Lei's lead, they went to the Eternal Ancient Desolate World. After arriving at the Eternal Ancient Desolate World, Knight Sorrow found that the aura here was older than the Eternal Supreme World. He judged that the cultivators here should be stronger than the Eternal Supreme World. Sigh. Su Lei, who had stepped onto this piece of land, let out a sigh. As soon as she returned to her hometown, she thought of her family and friends who had died tragically. Thinking of the bloody scene back then, Her mind couldn't help but tremble. The dead are gone. My condolences. Night Sorrow saw Su Lei in such a state and immediately comforted him. In fact, how could he not be nervous? Supreme Phoenix comforted Qin Nan. Night Sorrow, your family and friends should be hiding with the Supreme Longevity to recuperate. You don't have to be so sad. That should be the case from my deduction, but I can't control my worry. Night Sorrow replied to the Ancestor Phoenix. At that moment, Ancestor Phoenix had become a Middle Earthly sovereign with the support of a large amount of resources provided by Night Sorrow. Her aura had become much more solid. The first Deputy City Master had been promoted to Upper Earthly Sovereign, and was not far from becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. In the eternal supreme world of the past, this level of strength would have allowed him to run amok. But right now it was nothing. Night Sorrow, accompany me to revisit this place. Su Lei, who had been silent in the void for a while, controlled his aura and said slowly. Going back to the place where she had experienced nightmares required courage. But she wanted to go back and bury her family, friends, and even officials properly. It's my first time in the eternal ancient world. Lead the way. After Su Lei finished speaking, Yi Shang looked at her and said. In comparison, there was still a glimmer of hope for Night Sorrow. But Su Lei's family had been completely annihilated. This had become an irreversible fact. In my hometown, I was one of the top leaders. I was named the strongest empress. I ruled for many years. This state lasted until that incident back then. During the flight, Su Lei said sorrowfully. Originally, most of the territory in the eternal ancient world was under her rule and was very prosperous. But everything had changed overnight. I'm thinking, was all of this planned by the organization that took you in? After Su Lei finished speaking, Night Sorrow expressed his doubts. Logically speaking, in the isolated eternal ancient world, such a bloody incident should not have happened. Hearing this, Su Lei thought for a while and said, I'm not sure. But if that's really the case, I'll definitely destroy that organization. I'll help you. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he continued to follow behind Su Lei and flew towards the place she wanted to go. After flying in the void for about 4 hours, Su Lei suddenly said doubtfully, According to my memory, after flying for so long, we should have reached my territory. Why is it so desolate in front of me? Why are there broken walls everywhere? This place must have been attacked by some strong person on a large scale. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe and judged. Could it be that my territory has been completely destroyed? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Su Lei sighed in disbelief. She turned into Wuxia and accelerated in the void. However, after flying for a few more hours with Night Sorrow, the scene in front of her was still ruined. There was not a single living cultivator in sight. Who did this? I want to take revenge. I want to take revenge. After flying for so long and not seeing a single living person, Su Lei, who had turned into Wuxia, completely collapsed. Don't be like this. I found a cultivator. Let's go and ask. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had opened the sea serpent's eye, suddenly saw a cultivator in ragged clothes in the ruins. He said something to Su Lei and flew down to look for him. Hearing this, Su Lei turned into her human form and flew down. When the two of them landed on the ground, they found that this cultivator in ragged clothes had already gone crazy. Sitting in the ruins, he kept shouting in fear. Don't kill me, I beg you. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't destroy my village. Who wants to kill you? Who destroyed your village? Su Lei sent out a stream of divine origin energy towards this male cultivator in ragged clothes and covered in dirt. She hoped that this stream of divine origin energy could wake him up a little. Don't kill me, I beg you. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't destroy my village. However, the crazy male cultivator kept repeating the exact same words over and over again. At this moment, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix said, You can directly read his memories. But after reading them, he should be completely crippled. I'll try using the power of merit. If it doesn't work, Su Lei will read his memories. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Supreme Ancestor Phoenix. Then, he gathered the power of merit and sent it towards the man in front of him. Using the power of merit, he purified his entire body. Not long after, the male cultivator's eyes became much clearer. About 30 breaths later, he knelt in front of Su Lei with a plop and said, "This commoner pays his respects to the emperor. Get up. Tell us, what exactly happened?" Seeing that the male cultivator had recovered, Su Lei's eyes immediately moistened. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.